then we're good.
Okay.
Button.
Anyway, welcome back to Exalted Essence, Dragon Bloods, Crimes of Nature. Last time, a fair amount of stuff happened. There was discussion of the fallout of the events within the Satchel P. Mance. The confrontation with Ruby Gauntlet Tyrant and your friend, as well as pursuing of personal goals, discussions with the Satrap about the future, facing current projects and their outward movements, crafting different things, preparing swords, lashing together a plan to create a coalition across the region to stand as, if not a united political entity, then at least have some sort of council or organic body to lean in on and be support when something larger than any individual piece comes up. And then turned out that Guan was having a fairly bad day and had to just kind of check out for a while and was bird. Sybil arrived shortly afterwards to check in on him, and when she was arrived, filled in the crew with what she had been doing with her research in her time, and her current hypotheses regarding the nature of Ruby Gauntlet Tyrant and his associate possibly being deviations of a solar exaltation in some manner that she's not aware of, but she's kind of run out of other options, and it fits what little evidence that the crew has. Otherwise, the discussion bounced around with what she could do to support other things, as well as the future ideas of, okay, for once the crew is back on the front foot and is the primary actor, and the enemy doesn't know what's coming up next. So the Hearth is now the ones plotting the next move, and it seems like one of the major ideas is go over to the guild and punch it in the mouth, because when in doubt, punch the guild in the mouth.
Smash cut to Yang just saying, so when are we just going to go push the guild over? Like, can we just do that now?
You probably know more than the rest of us. How strong are they?
Well, I mean, like, how long until you are all willing to accept that we have to go over there and just punch them in the snout?
I'm all for punching them in the snout, but if we're going to do it, it needs to be a knockout punch. We can't leave them weakened, otherwise they're going to scatter to the four winds.
Well, you can't really give a knockout to the entire idea of narcissism. That's the problem.
No, I don't mean the narcissism, but we need to take care of their leadership and their infrastructure.
So we're burning it down.
If we're going in, we gotta. It's not any of these half measures. We either go in all the way or we leave them alone until we finish everything else we're doing.
I'm just gonna look at Repose. Are you gonna stop me from planning a siege on the guild?
Yang. I have observed over this year many of your habits, and one of them, which is upon you now, you are behaving as though the kill will be the complicated part of what you need to do.
Well, okay, a better way to ask this is do you think we can actually fix the mess we're about to make? It's a pretty big beast, right?
So you have already surrendered to the idea that you will be making a mess.
Ugh. I mean, is there any? It requires violence, which is always messy. There's no clean violence. If we could have legislated ourselves out of the problem, we would have by now.
Yes,
Have you
Yang, and
tried?
the violence is the simple part. What are you doing after the violence?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? What does the guild actually stand for? Who's the employee? Who's the shelter? Probably very little, but
So I
Rolling
will.
over 2 stats.
Yeah. Okay.
In order
This
to just
is-
kind of give a slow, steady breath inward, be filtering through
The immensity of the question.
extensive memory of having lived in this region his entire life and just aggregating all of the things that he has
Yeah, this is-
professionally not talked about.
Okay, yeah, get your stunt on
The
that.
things he, for the sake of decorum, has been ignoring as part of his neutrality in these affairs normally. Finesse Embassy. 6. Give me a guild org chart.
All right. So first problem.
Open the
well,
wiki page on Riftward Trading Company. Who is they? What do they do?
All right. So first thing to note is you are not taking out the guild, capital T, capital G. That is impossible. That would
The
require
guild
you.
does not exist. There is no such man as the guild who you could go up and strike on the face and chastise for his many misdeeds. The guild is composed of thousands upon thousands of contracts, within contracts between thousands and tens of thousands more of people. And carry on about, all right, don't think about this as a monolith because, one, they want you to think of them as a monolith because then they look stronger. And two,
And not
that's
a-
counterproductive. It's useless to try and think of them as a slab because they're not. They're the opposite of that.
They're a giant bunch of bickering mercantilist companies that want you to look at them as a monolith because they will turn into one the second that they're
They
collective.
are barely a
purpose threat.
brand.
actually, I had
Yes.
an idea. At the
Yes,
the
go on.
second that Rapose says the word mercantilist, Yang goes, bank heist. Steal the capital.
So, okay, that will lead into the Riftward Trading Company itself. The current leader of the Riftward Trading Company, it's Proctor, I believe is the term for guild leadership. Basically, Merchant Prince. Its equivalent is currently named Delos. Delos has been in charge of the Riftward Trading Company for about 30 years. Inherited it from the previous owner via just the previous owner. Actually, it was kind of remarkable in the sense of the guild in that it didn't involve very much overt backstabbing, bloodshed, or betrayal. It was just last person got old and decided to retire, and whoever had the most shares in the company takes over now. And that was Delos. Delos was in a strong economic position and took over the director leadership position. The Riftward Trading Company primarily has several major economic backbones that it relies on. In terms of the idea of a bank heist is possible, but not in terms of breaking into a big building and running out with a giant sack of money. First of all, the big primary export from the swamp area itself is that there are several plants in here that act as very powerful stimulants. It's effectively pre-processed and partially processed drug products. Again, as the Hearth know, there was an immense amount of it that went over to the Jade Orchid Prefecture, as well as generally out into the rest of the 100 Kingdoms and the region at large. Again, not really an illegal trade, but one that is certainly a way of controlling soft power and otherwise infiltrating other people's economies, because once you are supplying the sole source of an addictive substance, threatening to cut that off can do a lot for your power position. Second thing that they actually are doing here is this little fortress right here in the heart of the swamp is a precious metals mine from the inside of the swamp. It's kind of the equivalent of bog iron, except it's other just kind of mixed precious materials like golds, platinums, silvers. It's just this part of the swamp is full of fabulous metals, and we're not going to question it. We're just going to dig it up and sell it or hoard it. So in terms of like getting actual monetary stuff, it would probably be this fort. But then they have the entire, farming and foraging and processing stuff that comes with the rest of the region as their major business source. Otherwise, the major thing to keep in mind about the... Let me just scroll down a little bit to double check the names of the villagers. Yeah, Wetley over here, Anurma's Rest over here, and Goldstrike, very simple mine name, is... These were all basically boom towns. Only Anurma's Rest is the one that was kind of settled here to begin with. The rest were either had their people who lived here incorporated into the guild, en masse moved in because of the economy stuff, or basically decided they didn't want to live in guild territory and left, and the guild didn't particularly stop them because that costs money and who cares. So, in terms of economic vulnerabilities, if you went out and you killed Delos, it would just be like, okay, now they're angry, they would be able to call on fellow guild allies, they would have the next richest person take the seat, and they would probably try to move to some sort of war footing, if possible. They are known for having mercenary contacts and contracts because they're the guild, as number one. And number two is, there are enough, kind of hazardous wildlife and monster equivalents in the swamp area that there needs to be armed security, or else people might get jumped by, particularly aggressive swamp beasties, cryptids, etc. So there is definitely some degree of military force they could flex if they got mad and under a direct assault. Under concerted assault from a dragon-blooded Tarth and all the resources all of you have, they would fall over like a paper tiger. But all of their economic contacts would either be in dire straits and or quite mad. What is more likely as a direct assault, if you want to destroy it, is to destroy their economic ties, make them ruined as a valuable trading partner. And if you don't want to completely scorch earth them to the ground, and you just want their contributions to your current problems removed, the best thing would be scout the area out, see how and if they're aiding and abetting your enemies, and make it more profitable to help you than to help them. Because they're the guild. If there is one extremely predictable thing about them, if it is going to make them more money to switch sides and help you, they're not even going to blink. They'll be like, yeah, sure.
Alright, so there are assertions and suggestions to put forward there.
Mhm.
My angles.
Go ahead.
So part of how you run big trading company is you make other people take risks so that
Yes.
you can collect proceeds.
Yes.
You do a lot of leveraging. You will do a lot of financing. Big debt happens.
Yeah.
Find out who they owe and who owes them.
Mhm. Because there is absolutely no way.
Because there's the vital points to clamp down on and twist to make
There is
everything fall over.
Yeah, you are right in that there is absolutely no way a extractive trading company out in the middle of the Hundred Kingdoms at the ass end of nowhere, all the way upriver from Nexus, is not balls deep, if not eyeballs deep, in debt to somebody in order to exist. And
Well, just point me at what office they need to break
And
into.
that, so if yeah, you have to. So yeah, just remembering that company ties are not ties of kinship or fealty or solidarity. They are ties of convenience and exploitation.
Mhm.
So the layer of concern of, all right, we kick them over and then some other larger hat from a higher business comes in to avenge them, that will only happen if it looks like they would be able to come in here and get a return on investment out of being the next hat.
Or if sufficiently irrational, angry emotion is involved about, God damn it, that was my investment, and this doesn't seem like big enough that it would happen.
Again, which office do I break into?
Good
All of
question,
them.
man.
How many do you have time for?
How many do I have time for?
At the
What do
moment,
I
you've
roll to have
broken
a
into
legendary crime
none of
spree?
their offices. The more of them that you see, the better of a picture of the situation that you will develop, and the more informed decisions you will be able to make.
So you're saying I should do crime one lane without justification?
Before you do crime, perhaps you should talk
We
to
have
your
just
family.
discussed at length the justification, which you can take upon yourself.
Well, at the time, I don't have anything. I could just start breaking into people's houses, and then they I might find retroactive evidence, but that's not, you know.
Yang,
Uh,
talk to your family in the swamp. They might know a lot about this current portion of the trading company's information.
Yang, it is another
It's
habit of
all-
yours that I see often cause you much irritation and minor persistent torment. You keep behaving as though there were some authority looming over your shoulder waiting to chastise you and
well, they're usually
appraise all of your decisions.
Actually, who would Yang know to talk to is the most relevant for this information? Because assassins probably know something, but like a business person,
Like, say,
probably
Or-
one.
or Obsidian, but either one.
Obsidian. What trading goss do you have?
Well,
Newbies, not
Doobie has
present.
not yet arrived, so
Oh, yeah,
that's
right. Duh.
something to put a
But
pin
I
in.
can, yeah, like I can time forward a little bit to allow, Guan to recontribute. So,
Also, real
We could
quick, can you
also
send information to Burr?
Initiate operations.
yes.
If we want to scope this place out, anything that touches the water I can scope out very easily.
And
And
most things which exist are composite beings. Large problems are composed of a great number of similar smaller problems. Moving mountains, Yang. Go find small rocks. The rocks are hiding in people's offices. Break into their offices and find their rocks.
Fine, I'll go look for the rocks. Fuck. Where are we, Jade Orchid?
We were
you are
coming back
currently
in
sailing out of
from-
Grey Falls, which means you'll be going up the canal and
Yeah, we
getting
will be
near
arriving
south-
from off map. over here.
You'll be getting up near Clay Bottom here right now.
I feel like our first step should be to find if there's any connection to any of the three nasty folk we've been dealing with in the trading company, be it purple, green, or ruby.
Yeah, it seems like we have enough differing people to check in on that we can split into different scenes, and also probably do ventures at this point because
Do some
this is a larger
information
scale.
gathering
Yeah,
venture.
would
Yes.
some sort of just giant crime spree be adventure of just me?
That would be a venture, yes. And I'm just going to.
My venture needs newbie to be here.
That's all right. Crumb, you had an idea for something to do as well. I believe.
Which idea are you referring to? There were many voiced.
Going to the Jade Orchid Prefecture to check in on things.
Yes, I did want to check in with them. However, mostly to get the information from Burr.
Okay. I was just seeing which ones we could do first for now.
Yeah, because if Angler goes to Jade Orchid Prefecture, he's going to want to be there for a while. The thing he wants to kind of take care of this guild thing and then head there and just be able to not
Okay,
worry
yeah.
about looming problems. So it would be more of a get Burr
All
over
right.
here to help
So,
out.
so okay, I think what will help with that. Timeline-wise, where are we in the year?
Let me pull that up just a moment to go over to that tab and roll 20. My increasingly large number of maps. We are at Ascending Wood 9.
Yeah, so we're at the start of wood season, and then after that will be fire season.
And
There's
then
still
calibration. You've got
so,
6
like,
months left.
yeah. Even if we scope this out to be something we're doing over the next month, that still fits very comfortably into the rest of the year. So
You've got
don't
6 months.
don't feel
so-
like we're needing to jump in and immediately kick a head off. We're doing research. We're laying groundwork.
Kick a head off.
You've got to examine the head before you kick it.
We're still gonna. It's still in service of kicking a head off, though, right?
The right
Any
head at
small-
the right time.
Many small rocks.
Just
Any
because
small
small heads.
rocks.
where on the map are we technically?
Off
Uh,
map down
if I
here
had- if I
as
had
of the
drawn
start of
this
things,
map-
but we're coming in.
If I had drawn this map better, it would be like 4 or 5 cells south at the end of the canal. Let me just move. Like, you're on the road right now. You just kind
Okay.
of have
I
arrived.
didn't know if we were
on
on Onyx or not.
Well, you are on Onyx.
We had access to the boat during
yeah.
the much time that is between last thing we did and next thing we're doing.
I did not know if we were going to try to get Onyx to said swamp.
So
That would be a question for when Obsidian is back if we want
Yeah.
to port the boat over some land.
Mhm.
Or if there's even a connection. Like you said, the map is not perfect. There might be a water connection somewhere. I wasn't sure.
double check that. Really. No, I didn't make one from the canal to the swamp directly.
Perfectly
ca-
fine.
Because the swamp is artificial. It was not
Mhm.
meant to be a connected water source.
Okay. Well, cross that idea off.
Well, no, you're Exalts. You could figure out how to get a boat to there.
You can move a boat across land. That's a thing people do in the real world.
Yes,
Orders.
I understand. It's more a matter of how Onyx. How heavy are you?
Yes.
That is a curious question. Why do you ask?
Well, if we were to move you across land, I'd like to try to figure out how much people or resources we're going to need to get you to a different water source.
You grow wheels.
There is a pause at that question. I do not believe so. If I had that capacity at some point, then I do not remember it. However, I do remember that I am able to trim my hull down to a more reasonable size, and I believe I would have the ability to make myself of a size to allow the crew and yourselves to portage me as necessary. As well as if Sybil remains around, I believe she may be able to just throw me.
There. Could you I know you can't make wheels, but could you make the bottom part of your form here into sled? Into a sled rather?
Uh, I believe I was once equipped with ice sledding technology long ago, but I cannot guarantee that it would be completely functional if I attempted this.
Okay. It's more just a option.
I could attempt.
Is that going to cause you any kind of harm in the short term, or is this something that is easily done?
I do not believe it would cause harm. It may cause inconvenience if I get stuck.
Hmm.
We have logs.
Yeah, exactly. It's more a matter of I don't want you to get stuck in that form and cause more issues. If we had to, we could do it, but if we have other options, we can do that.
There's just kind of a mental ping on Raposa's statement of just like, you could just portage me.
Yeah.
So, let's see. we want that one to be the first thing, then that would be its own venture, would be a travel venture to get Onyx out over onto the water. So let me look up travel. Long journey. Fortitude plus navigate. And I will call... Yeah, I'll call it a series of 3 obstacles. One for rough terrain, one for the vehicle not being suitable, and just another for fatigue, probably after a point. So, what's everyone's navigate aside from Newbie? Because Newbie would probably be taking the lead if present.
I've got a real high navigate.
I think
Okay.
we both have 5.
You're the Minister of Transportation. This is not the first time you've gotten a boat over a land.
Minister of Transportation with no sense of direction.
Yeah, but everybody else has the map.
Look,
Yeah.
water's there, and not water's here. I just have to get that from the water to the not water.
We're already on a road. It has 2 directions.
It also helps when the boat can tell you you're going the wrong way. The boat itself has GPS. So, yeah, roll me Fortitude Navigate versus a difficulty 4 for your first obstacle. And we'll have a travel segue for other ventures to start up.
Quick question.
Hey, what's up?
How close is Sybil and Guan's travel animal?
The Duchess, you're not sure.
Yeah, she might be able to help with
I mean,
portion.
Sybil
teleported to us. We have no idea where the Duchess is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Last I left, she was still on the boat. I just had her move out into her quarters. So you could go, ask her stuff as part of this.
Just poke my head in. Sybil, we want to move the boat. Where's your Duchess?
You want to move the what?
I wanna
Oh!
move the boat over land. I mean, you could also help, but I thought, Duchess...
Her eyes light up at that. Well, Duchess would probably take a while to get here, but I could drag you to where she is.
You could just drag us to the water.
Sure, fine, I guess, if you want. So, that is 2 threshold successes on top of that. So you have 2 excess advantage points so far. So the first part of this is basically having the crew get out of the boat, get some trees felled with the assistance of the Exalted, roll them, and then just start doing portages of just start doing log sleds and rolling across land. And what normally would be a pretty damn long process to go from one set of water to the other is assisted by the fact that multiple members of the Hearth are built like brick shithouses, and you have a very excited Solar who is given opportunity to just be huge and drag and lift things, and at several points, she is actively outpacing, picking up the logs, running them out in front of the boat, putting them down, running back to the boat, pushing forward. Like, it is to the point where everybody else has to tell her to slow down slightly so they can actually keep up with the pace and not have it slip off the logs, because she's just kind of getting a little excited about the ability to do this.
Dumb question. Is there just a way for Sybil, myself, and anyone else with 5 strength just to lift it and walk for a while? Like, fuck the
That would
logs?
be feat of strength, and that would be a very...
Okay. We'll keep doing
Like,
this.
that's
as we're going.
that's
It's just more of a
possible, I just-
curiosity.
We have the logs. Come
Also-
on.
You have the logs, but also I'm remembering Obsidian Shield has the charm where it's like 3 motes, I do it, fuck you. But that's like for one action rather than a venture.
Yeah. That's the emergency backup in case venture does not work. Continue with venture.
Okay, so...
This is going to end in Obsidian, waking up, stepping outside, hey, what are y'all doing? And then just kind of punting the boat the rest of the way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rule out that Obsidian is currently just so engrossed in work and preparing for the Confederation talks in the boat that he hasn't noticed you're out of the water. It's just, water's bumpy today.
We're rocking a whole bunch. Well, whatever.
I'm sure it's fine. Onyx would tell me if there's a problem. It's just kind of holed up in the captain's quarters doing a lot of paperwork, doing a lot of thinking as the boat's just going... So, for the other people who have ventures, first thing I would say is we have the crime venture to think about. So, that'll be all information gathering investigation. And I will put that at 5 difficulties, or 5 obstacles, because this is a complex investigation. First one that you can do on the boat itself would be finesse sagacity as your first one at a difficulty of 3 to basically mentally sort out, because you've been to one of the towns and also you are passingly familiar with the guild and in general other things like that. So finesse sagacity versus difficulty 3 to basically mentally mind palace a plan of approach.
That is a 4.
Okay, mark down that you have 1 advantage success.
I would like to go ahead and assist to see about trying to juice up that roll a little bit.
Okay.
Because recall that way back when we visited this town, Repose stopped and checked in with
mortuary.
local mortuary and got to hear about local unusual deaths and made a good impression with those folks. And those folks are going to be a repeated contact when we get back in there. So Repose is going to kind of gonna pre-brief Yang a little bit on where to go to try and get, the good intel about the skeletons in people's closets.
All right, nice. What is that? Would I roll
Get
more dice for this?
Get that haunted data. Well, so I'm going to help, so I will throw a roll of my own.
Mm-hmm.
Take 4 extra dice on your own roll.
Sana, you roll 4 extra more.
Yeah, bad.
Okay, so now you have 3 bonus good boy points for advantages to use later.
Hi, hello. I just want to say
Remember
how
to ask
ridiculous it
ghosts.
is how much I was needed at the start of this session
It's,
more than before.
Interruptions happen, it's alright.
Anyway, I'm here now.
Boat is rolling. Boat is
So,
driving.
at this point, I would say is roughly the dramatic point where Obsidian, having been holed up in the captain's quarters and really just
Obsidian busts out of the door with a sandwich, going, "What the heck is going on?"
you lean over, and first thing that strikes you is there's ground underneath you as opposed to water, and that seems like a problem. The second thing is you see Sybil sprinting ahead with an entire trimmed spruce tree, just all the branches trimmed off to make a perfect log, from the back of Obsidian to the front to lay it down in front of Obsidian before jogging
Onyx,
back.
man. But yes.
Yeah, that's Onyx, yes.
Yes,
Music
yes,
aside
we're
from Stop, by the
portaging Obsidian.
As you would expect.
And yes, music
Okay,
has
because this was a part that I did not catch while I was listening to stream driving around. Where are we going to from where?
We're going to we're bringing Onyx from the canal overland into the swamp so that we will have Onyx on hand for swamp adventure.
Okay. And yes, because there are also canals. Yes, we will have access to the whole southern part of the map that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's the whole water access all the way up to Fallen River, and then we're
portage
establishing that this is a tool we have now. We can, with some effort, take the boat from one place and bring it somewhere else.
And Obsidian has the max huge feat of strength charm. We've got Angler. We have Sybil. You could probably drag it up the cliff with a good enough venture.
Would it be easier for Sybil and Obsidian and Angler to just carry the boat?
That was brought up. My comment was that those actions are for a single. Actually, hang on. I need to look up that feat of strength charm again.
Yeah, hold up. Let me. Because I was
also.
also thinking that it's hilarious how many of the jokes that were going through my head as I was driving around that you all came up with. But yes.
I don't remember if it's like. Because I know it is like succeed to defeat a strength instantly. I don't remember if there's a venture step.
So it is initially when character attempts to feat a strength, reduce the difficulty. That is step 1. Step 2 is the Exalt may spend an additional mote to attempt to feat a strength that would normally require a venture in a single roll. And number 3 is the Exalt may spend an additional mote to perform a single extreme feat of strength without needing to roll.
All right, I'm going to make you. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make you roll because
So we
this
can
is not,
skip a step of this venture is what that adds up to.
I think a feat of strength that requires a venture means the whole thing.
Yeah.
It collapses
maybe,
the venture
depending on how
into a single
generous.
roll.
That actually Obsidian could just kind of drag the boat the whole way over.
Yeah, so Obsidian, roll.
Obsidian comes out the door and goes, "Why did none of you get me?"
So
You were
roll,
eating a sandwich. We didn't want to bother you.
roll me fortitude navigate. And actually no, because this would be your feat of strength. The physique, fortitude physique, with a stunt. All right, yeah, just Obsidian just gets down off of Onyx, just kind of probably takes some of the rigging and the ropes, ties it to the prow of the boat, lashes it over the shoulders, and just starts walking.
Come on.
Sybil is just like, Sybil looks like a very excited sled dog at this idea and immediately goes and does the same thing, and the both of you just start hauling ass down the road with an entire boat behind you. The logs kind of just now rolling desperately underneath it.
That can't be good for the Oh, right. Jade, never mind.
Anyway.
Angler kind of looks at what they're doing for a little bit and then sighs a little bit and gets a shovel out and starts filling in the giant divot you're dragging directly
The
into.
fucking hole, like the cord out middle of the road, yeah.
All right, here we go.
We've created. No, okay.
Wait, alright, wait, hang on, yeah.
No. Fucking Milan looks at this and goes, "Wait, there's a divider down the middle of the road." Almost
free
as
ditch.
if people should go on one side and the other people should go on the other. Oh.
This was my plan all along!
We have created the
Excavation,
divider in
yeah.
the center of the road for traffic.
Like, Milan is hanging off the back of Onyx and it's just like shoveling gravel into it just to make it a divider berm.
You know, if you get some rainwater in there, that's a tiny aqueduct.
You know, I was
It's a
gonna
little
say,
baby
too,
canal.
hey, we expand this, we can turn this into a waterway.
You hear that, and then so you look back, and Angler's just gone, and he comes back an hour later, just bringing a massive surge of water from the canal that you had been before. Going, all right, hold on a second, let me fill in this
He's just
aqueduct.
surfing a tied up this new canal. There's some very, very confused looking fish in some of the waves. So yeah, the venture is completed in a single roll. I'm going to count that. Let me look at the advantages. I'm just going to give you some because of this, because this is genius brain idea.
Advantage. Canal.
Yeah, first of all, you have now created a water canal, so you don't have to drag the damn thing. Onyx will be able to slim down enough to travel on the road.
Well,
By
on the
water.
way back.
On the way back.
We're creating the canal right now.
Yeah. And is there anything else that I would add as a thing? Reputation as a reliable messenger or famous explorer, etc. +1 to social roles with those who have heard of you for this. So I'm just gonna say that everyone, but particularly Milan, this may or may not come up, but you are going to get noticed as we just dug a canal in a day by dragging a goddamn boat through a road.
I wonder what this is going to do for the trade for mud.
Oh, we're gonna have to explain why the boat didn't collapse, being dragged through the ground. We can't let anyone know it's made out of jade.
We have wizards.
Yeah, okay, like, you have several exalts doing this.
I know. The exalts aren't the problem. The perceived wood.
You
is
have
the
a wood
problem.
exalt.
I know.
That is a boat that is captained by a dragon man.
Yep.
Big. He's real big.
It's
The
the
boat's real
captain
big.
dragging the boat. The boat's not gonna fall down because the captain says don't fall down.
He
The
knows the
boat
limits
was
of his
just a
boat.
guide for Obsidian to dig the canal himself.
So yeah, just kind of smash cut to probably late evening at this point over like outlying farms and goat herding pastures for Clay Bottom. One of the shepherds looks up and just on the horizon sees a mast starts coming up and just is like, what the fuck? And looks over to see a boat just kind of drifting down the road, and then when focusing more sees two people just hauling ass, dragging it like the world's strongest man competition, while the rest of the crew is like maintaining the boat and on it and around it. And just the shepherd just kind of looks at it, looks back at the goats, kind of gestures with the goats to get them away from the road, and stands back and watches. So yeah, was there any business you wanted at Clay Bottom, or would you be going up further towards the swamp?
I had a scene with Obsidian for my venture.
Okay.
So I'm working on my venture to set up a small village in my new territory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need building supplies. Do I know a trader at all? Someone who does commerce, someone who could source lumber.
Crime is unsolvable.
Walks into Obsidian's office. Hey, buddy, I got a question.
What's up?
You ever deal in lumber, building supplies?
Yeah, I have at least once in the past.
Cool. Want to do a business deal?
Sure.
Cool. And because I need lumber to build my new town.
Yeah. Where is the best place to get? Do I have a charm for this specifically? Is what I'm gonna look at real quick.
Yeah.
Give me a hot second while I've opened up the big book of charms because I've not yet made this smoother in my side sheet.
I mean, yeah, people bring up a good point that you also have a very good starting supply of lumber by the like 10 or 12 trees you felled to do this.
It's the East. We have wood.
Yep.
It's a matter of where's the good shit.
Did you know anyone who sells lumber?
I'd say standing in the middle of like the Black Forest.
We both look to the east. No, that's too spicy. Do you have less powerful wood?
I cannot actually handle your strongest trees.
Okay. Well. I don't have a charm specifically for where does the best deals occur, but I do have a 5 in embassy.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a stat of that you find appropriate, plus embassy, plus a stunt.
Which is the brain stat, would you say? Is that finesse? That falls under.
Finesse is quick thinking. Force is like sheer force of thought, and fortitude is patience. They're all kind of brain stat. So you can pick finesse if you
Okay, so Obsidian starts going through all of his records that he kept on hand, and that is how I'm going to sell this on Fortitude. Of just, all right, where was that place? Because there was one time when we had to transport like a couple tons of lumber.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that? Where was that? Who's processing the lumber around here?
So the biggest source of lumber would be God's Breath River. usually, again, on the big map, it's a bit of a circuitous route, but it is one that connects back to the main river. If you go back up to the Gothbirth River, all of this kind of tan-ish area is chopped forest and deforested, or horticulture for maintaining logging. And then out here is just like fucking wood bonanza. So they do a lot of logging and they do a lot of forestry as part of the way they maintain themselves. So that would be, in this area, your best source. You've gotten several. You have had literally an entire boatload of wood from them before. That was pretty high quality. You could also source on site back down where they make it, but you may want to avoid that before you start making overtures to any local elementals and gods and things like that, and go for the safe option up here. Basically what I would say is the role here is less, where do I get wood, and where is more, what wood is most compatible to put down there that won't immediately piss off the local spiritual ecology if we know little about it.
And that was more or less what he was looking for, is who actually deals in wood around here, because, his answer's going to be like, well, honestly, if you're just trying to get wood, and gestures all around, it's everywhere. But if you're just grabbing it yourself, you don't know whose foot you're going to step on, whether they be human or spiritual or whatever. And would gesture up to the God's River. These are the people that I've worked with in the past, and luckily we're on pretty good terms with them, so.
Alright, so that is going to be 2 extra threshold successes for your advantage on that venture.
Excellent. I shall mark that down.
And while we are passing through, stopping over at Clay Bottom, going to check in with local shrine, going to check in on Monument from inciting incident to the campaign, and going to more actively than has been the case for Repose in the past, do some networking, do some collecting and exchanging of news with everyone who he has worked with in this town in the past.
We counting this as an info gathering venture, or just
to contribute with to the info heist. Just, this is the next town over. They're going to be full of people who left here for reasons, or who regularly commute over there for other reasons.
Okay.
They're otherwise entwined with the affairs of the Riftwood Company, but are at a safe distance where you can say bad things about Rift Boss and they can't do shit.
Yep. Okay, so your pool is going to be Finesse Presence. You have a stunt on it. Your difficulty is going to be opposed, as this is acting against the actor. This is acting against the guild trying to not get noticed. Not actively in the city, but as a general thing. So I'm going to be rolling my own pool.
And what stats did you ask for again?
Finesse Presence.
Finesse Presence. Just check on my presence charms. I do have presence excellency, so let's just go ahead and toss that in there. Six.
Alright, so that's the first complication. You are asking around and you do get your information. So I'll go through that first. So what you do get is you go through Clay Bottom, and you do get your information that you're looking for in terms of the trading company. Generally, their relationship with Riftwood Trading Company is, look, we give them the pottery, we don't ask questions, sometimes they ship over their own stuff. Look, people are going to buy drugs if drugs are available, and there's a supply and demand thing. It is not a thing that is massively a hold on the economy in this area, especially because they live close enough that they could just go out to swamp themselves and forage it if the prices start getting extortionate, so they know not to be too on it, especially because Clay Bottom's exports are extraordinarily high quality, as mentioned. That the seed of this entire campaign was how good their pottery is, so they don't want to rock the boat too badly. So they have a kind of professional detente between each other of, look, we could come in and put the squeeze to you, but that would threaten a one-of-a-kind supply source, so whatever. We're gonna be a little extortionate, but we're not going to be as extortionate as we could be, because we can't guarantee that won't just, kill the goose that lays the golden. However, that will cause a complication, and let me look at the examples since I don't immediate one in mind.
When do I act upon crime venture?
That is currently what Repose is assisting with, and we will start acting the more active version once we get to the swamp.
Okay, we're still in
So
training.
how many obstacles are crime venture total?
5.
All right, so this is 2 out of 5 that I'm stepping up to help with.
The second one is now you succeeded, and I'm going to make the complication that you succeeded, but you have tipped people off to your snooping, is the consequence I'm. So Repose is not being subtle about this, because why, as you said, why bother? You can say bad things out here and no one cares. But, I mean, you are a Hearth of Dragonbloods dragging a fucking boat down a road, coming in, talking to old friends, and then asking pointed questions about, so, how about those bastards over in the swamp? And it doesn't take much for somebody who has sympathies to, put 2 and 2 together and maybe send a message. So, yeah, somebody in here was a snitch. You don't know who, but it's true.
Rats happen.
As for the priestess and the shrine, the gods are doing pretty well. It is in the middle of wood season, so it's getting near to harvest. The fields are looking pretty good. People are kind of ecstatic that they managed to pull out a good harvest season after everything that happened at the start of the year. The gods have been doing quite a lot to assist with that. This has been growing into her role quite well. It is unorthodox, but, who cares? The outreach from Grave Halls has fallen off to a degree after kind of all of the everything going on. They realize that now is not the time to focus on outward expansion and cultural infiltration when, they have their own problems with that. The shrine itself is now quite handsome. There have been a couple of deaths, nothing you would call even remotely out of the ordinary. There was one
Routine deaths.
Routine, like old age. One person died of an accident out in a field. They just tripped in a burrow and broke their ankle and fell and smashed their head. But nothing that is even out of the ordinary. And they've been added to the shrine, and it has been very well maintained, and it is clearly becoming a fixture of the town very quickly.
Now, Repose can pass along the good news that the specter, which inflicted that curse upon them, has been driven out of this land.
Nice. Yeah, they would.
And should it ever return, it will face annihilation.
They would be very, very pleased to hear that. Yes.
Any preliminary news about how they're reacting to the North folks? How are the North folks who decided to join in here settling in?
Seems like the North folks are having a decent enough time. They've settled into largely helping with maintaining the city, rebuilding and refurbishing things. Some people helped out in the fields before, it was set to grow. It looks like they're likely to go out and be a lot of the force that goes out and harvests. Right now, they're just kind of. There are some awkwardness, as there always is, in terms of an assimilation of a culture that is new and does not completely vibe with everything in the area, but so far it has been responded to with, they're good folks. They're a little weird, but they got the spirit. Out in the North Town, out in the ruins, there has been reports that nothing has happened in terms of weird shenanigans or the ground bursting forward and eating them or more eyeballs happening or anything like that.
No sightings of unusual crab.
No weird, strange East Coast crabs yelling at people. But yeah, it's rebuilding the entire place from the rubble up is going to take a while. So there's, there are a couple of buildings that have been established and a couple of communal housing situations that have been made, but it is going to be probably another couple of years before it is a major settlement and not just kind of a we have plonked buildings down here and we are trying to make something of it. But from accounts that they're doing okay.
We spent the night at the town, correct?
Yeah, you would be pulling in the evening and probably taking a rest for the night at the town.
Sybil mentioned what sign she is. She's Dawncast, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Angler is going to mention to her before we go to bed that he wants her help on fiddling with his gauntlets, but since she is Dawncast, could we do it in the early morning and maybe that'll help out a little bit?
She would just give a shrug and a nod and kind of surprised, but sure, yeah.
Darren.
What's up?
I'd like to not start my contribution to the crimes venture, but I know what I'm getting at is, Darren, I'd like to buy some pottery.
Okay.
To set up the charm thoughtful gift technique so that once we get to Riftwood Trading Company,
you can use it. Yeah. I'm not going to make a roll. That's just a declaration of you have enough money, you have enough resources. These people love you. You just get it.
I am buying pottery.
Yep.
The good pottery?
The best.
Yeah.
The strongest pottery.
Actually, there is the thing in Essence that is just a general purpose advantage of being a dragon-blooded, that you can at any time leverage your general social reputation
right, yeah,
to
the Prince of
borrow
the
a
Earth.
merit rating equal to your Essence.
Yeah. I forgot.
You can
Prince
rent merits. It's just a thing you can do. Don't have any particular use of that in mind at the moment, or do I? No, not at the moment. Or do I? You know what? Actually, let's just go ahead and formalize the idea that I've been leaning on for my roles here. And I would like to Princess of the Earth up a temporary Contacts 4.
Yeah. That works.
What page is that mentioned on in the...
It's in the first bits of the Dragon Bloods, right up where it has all the elemental banner effects.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, let's see.
Page 37.
Yeah, so Princess of the Earth. Once per session, the character may select one merit and treat it as though it had a dot rating equal to your essence, working its acquisition with the storyteller. This benefit lasts for the duration of the session. Yeah, so for the duration of the session, Repose is actually leaning on the social web that he has passively built up over just years of living in and traveling in this place and being a generally likable person. And is now, just briefly, actually speaking up and collecting anything back from that social capital.
Also, a reminder to myself, the other advantage Dragon Bloods get is if you ever make teamwork rolls, pardon me, with each other, you get an extra die. So I should be remembering that whenever you do
that. For this session, I'm going to be using my Prince of the Earth to give myself resources 4. Okay. Milan comes back with way too much pottery.
Like a downright kind of mortifying amount of it. Just an extremely obvious visual example of the differences of the price and value of something where it is produced versus where it is exported. because like they're like, oh yeah, sure, no, like take 5, take 6. You saved our lives. Whatever you need. Like, if this is going to be helping you save more lives, go right ahead. So Milan is walking back with like half a jade talent worth of pottery, just casually.
But they look so nice. I just had to pick them up.
I like to think that Angler is sitting on top of Onyx and just looks over and goes, Milan, where did you get those?
I bought them.
You bought all of those.
Yeah.
You bought them. They were just given to you.
Okay, well...
They were on heavy discount.
Okay, one moment. Moves a bunch of... Okay, the ones in these piles were a gift. The ones in this middle piles were sold to me at a very steep discount. And this one right here I bought full value. It's really nice.
Yes, that one you bought at full value is very nice. The other 99, on the other hand, I'm a little worried about.
I didn't coerce anyone. I just said I wanted to buy some pottery.
Milan, have we talked about how your small talk is just the way to end ruin nations?
Why do you think I'm doing this?
But you might be ruining that little city in the process, or town in the process.
I just built them an aqueduct. Their agriculture is going to be booming here within the next year.
I would figure implicitly this is terrain-wise like a local high point between swamp over there and canal-wise over here. So congratulations, you're going to be the transfer stop between these two new routes that are coming into existence.
Basically, you just gave, like, if anything, they are underpaying Milan for the economic benefits of what you are doing casually to just go somewhere faster.
Yeah, Angler is absolutely like just playing this up at this point, just poking fun at Milan. He understands that it's going to be fine.
Have you seen Yang?
Who?
Yang.
Do I look around? Do I see Yang?
No.
Cool. Nope.
Okay, where's Yang?
Probably breaking into something at this point.
You know, there's a large shipment of pottery that's being moved through the town. That's a bit odd. That's fine.
God, I'm going to just take the suggestion from chat and say that one of the particularly large vases has Stalwart Daughter's head poke out of it, just kind of emerging from being squished within.
She does have that ability where she can fit in anywhere she can stick her head.
Oh, she's a cat?
Horse is liquid.
She's horse.
Okay.
Hormst.
Are we actually within anything that I could reasonably be breaking into for any reasonable gains?
Not quite yet, but like
most of the breaking in targets are the next step down the road.
The next step is crime.
What I'm doing is I have bought your smoke screen for breaking in.
Also, as an aside, as soon as we enter Riftwood Trading Company, I have a role to add to this venture.
Quick question. Does anyone have the Wind Carried Words technique upgrade Dragon's Voice Mastery?
No.
The only person that might have that might be Yang?
Nah.
Okay. Okay, because if that was the case, we'd be able to send a Wind Carried Words from here all the way up to Burr without having to walk up to get her. So, hence why I was asked, just realized...
you still have experience, milestone.
Do you not own carrier pigeons?
Yeah, I was going to say carrier pigeons. We could also just use the mask that
the network. The network we set up.
Milan, would you mind doing that and sending a message to her?
Oh, I finally remembered to bring something up just so that it is on a recording somewhere. Because we never actually came back and did it, but we can say off screen at some point, we closed all the portals, right? We shut that thing down.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Talk to who to what now? I'm trying to get my horse out of this pot.
Burr, the...
Oh,
in the town north of here. She might be happy helping out with the Riftwood Trading Company, at least giving us information, if not coming down to help burn it down. What with that being her whole thing.
Hang on, let me see if there's anyone near the tree. Mask goes on.
And there is a lookout who is currently actually carving apart what looks like some sort of small deer-like animal.
Okay, I hope he's already been informed this exists. Hi, hello.
Oh, God. Right, witchery. Which one are you again?
I'm the mustached one.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What do you want?
We're about to go do a move on the Riftwood Trading Company. We wanted to know if Burr was interested.
It's kind of a stare, looking back down at the corpse. Is just, what do you mean if?
We wanted to be polite.
All right. How long you got? Because I can go get her.
You've got until I can extract this. You know what? Never mind. Go ahead.
All right. Might be.
Don't want to try and explain extracting a horse from pottery to this person.
Camera cuts back over to Stalwart Daughter, now looking somewhat like a hermit crab as the face is flipped upside down, the legs have come out, and there's scuttling involved.
Why does she not come out of this pot?
That's the bribe, not your house.
So, after about probably 20 minutes or so, Dragon Slaying Burr comes into the clearing with a couple of her lieutenants that you can recognize even if you never caught their names. And kind of just looks up over at the tree, rubbing her forehead. So, you've decided to declare war on our local branch of the guild?
I wouldn't say war.
Alright, then what would you say?
I'd call it war.
But
Okay,
Milan
everyone
wouldn't call it war. Milan doesn't declare things.
Extermination.
Well, none of the chiming in is audible over the mask unless Milan relates.
The people around me are saying a lot. A business opportunity.
Burr is just kind of looking dead-eyed into the mask and raises a single eyebrow.
Okay, look, we have suspicions that they may be dealing with one of 3 antagonistic forces in the area, and we're going to go punch them over if they in fact are. And if they're not, or we might still
See,
punch
alright,
you over.
see, you can open with that, and I would consider you less of a... just kind of withdraws her hand, whatever.
I just hate them.
So, on a scale of taking care of that problem to getting rid of them entirely and leaving only ashes behind, what is your intended level of volume?
Localized economic collapse.
Well, that does hit them where it hurts most. So, kind of rubs her chin. I mean, my question isn't if I can help. It's what you want me to do.
One moment. Hey guys, what do we want her to do? Because
I was asking merely for information, but if she wants to come down and help burn it down or point out the best points that we could hit to make it burn down, I'd be okay with that as well.
I assume that's relayed.
Ask her for
Yeah.
dirt.
Oh, information. Well, I could get you that, but I mean, I'm certainly not going to say no to the opportunity to work out some frustration. I'll put it that way.
Propose will slide in, give like rapid series of sharp taps on the shoulder to be like, give me the phone, give me the phone, give me the phone, give me the phone.
Hey, okay, I don't know how this is going. One moment. Your Earth, can you reshape your face? Is that a thing Earth aspect can do?
Oh, for the love of! I walk over and use Earth or sense writing technique and just grab both of their heads and let
Just
them
link the two of you.
Yes, just do it already.
Oh!
So now there is just a kind of crossfire before the two of you have your senses collapse on both, sharing the sensory view through the mask. So Repose can now speak through Tree.
And of course, the tree immediately goes silent because it's proposed talking.
There's a prolonged serene silence from Tree. And then a survey of local wild grasses.
Like,
With that conveying by way of
oh.
character as a
Like,
poet here.
In character, she goes, okay. Yeah, no, I can get you.
Conveying without needing to add another layer of calling out every one of the thing that he could hammer on more than he does. Y'all are fixating on the easy part of the murders and not the work that happens of what will replace the gap left by the murders. The grass roots.
Yeah, no, I can get you. It'll take me a little time to work some old connections, but I can get you that easy.
If we're gonna focus on beating up top hats, then all right, at least assign one of our allies to be doing the busy work of networking,
Of the then what?
of contacting existing opposing forces and letting them know that the time is near,
That they can go, curb stop somebody for profit.
that they can resume living their lives peacefully.
So she thinks for a moment. Yeah. Anything else that you need me to make a list over, or I can get that done for you?
How's the cat?
Yes. Angler wanted to know how's the cat.
Mischievous little bastard. Love him. Keeps getting into trouble.
I relay, yeah, cat's doing good. Being cat.
Okay, this link is starting to cause an absolute headache. Are we good here?
Yeah. Out of character, I have nothing else on the studio.
Zzz, pull it back.
I need to lie down.
I have never linked 3 people like that before. That was fun.
Milan crawls into one of the larger pots.
Why do I taste copper?
Oh no, did old man link himself into us?
Looks
Oh.
around. No.
It's just blood.
Anyway, that's it for this evening for Angler.
Being completely honest, I'm actually confused about why you're tasting copper from your own blood. There's no copper in that. That's iron.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm asking why I taste copper. Maybe I burned something else out.
Turns out now, whenever we cut, Angler gets a cut, turns out he starts bleeding blue because all of his hemoglobin is replaced with hemocyanin out of nowhere.
Horseshoe crab carcinization.
He's got ocean blood.
Horseshoe crab does not result in carcinization. That's a spider. Basically.
I know. Alright, so shall go forward, and first things first. In the dawn, right literally as the sun is breaking the horizon, Angler hears a knock on the door. It is kind of intent, but not like rattling the door frame.
Come in, and if it's Sybil, she would find him already sitting at a table, kind of doodling with some designs on a gauntlet.
It is both Sybil and Guan is behind her in his human form that you recognize, looking pretty disheveled, but with it.
Glad to see you. Everyone's back with us.
Mm-hmm. And Sybil just kind of nods and comes in. Figured you might as well, tag along for a little bit, make sure we can keep an eye on him. Anyway, sits down. So what can I help you with?
Well, the last time I fiddled with these gauntlets, I kind of got a little too lost in the sauce, as it were. And I realized from everything my brothers have been telling me that I try to do things on my own too much. So, since you were here, I thought I'd ask for help on the designs for this other gauntlet. And since
Okay,
it's
yeah.
talking about kindness, I figured you two were the best people to ask.
That was from Guan. And Sybil is just kind of looking back in kind of a glare, but like a sure kind of way. Well, I think that's a very sweet idea, and so let me take a look at that. She says, just kind of gently taking the gauntlet and looking it over. Okay, so what is your goal with this? What do you want out of these?
Really, all I wanted to do was kind of make my own mark on them because they were given to me with a, message and a command, as it were, and I'm going to own up to it. So I want to make them mine. But at the same time, eventually, I don't know, I kind of want to give these to my kids.
If it's so personal, then I understand what you said about asking for help, but not sure how I can help.
Well, again, it's more a matter of sometimes it's nice to have extra people on hand just to talk while you're doing something, and they
Sure.
can see a mistake as it's happening, and also it's just fun to see people who know what they're doing do their work.
Sure. Did you have any particular ideas in mind for the design? Because I don't really have anything that I would impose on it. I mean, again, it's very much an artifact that have you in mind. It was named for you and for as a message, and so it is very personal. So anything that I impose on it is probably going to make it quite irritated.
Well, you two know certain bears more than I do, so I was hoping that you could help me with the designs of the bears, because I wanted to have one bear giving another bear a fish.
Ha. All right, yeah. No, I can help you with the tattoos. I can help you with that.
Not tattoos.
Hmm?
Engravings. This is on the gauntlet, not on me.
Oh no, I meant on the engraving, but she just kind of waves a hand dismissively. Yeah, no, I get. Yeah.
Angler's
So-
now immediately worried.
So yeah, there's no real role here. This would just be with
Second
them
venture
on
roll.
hand. Oh yeah, second venture roll. This is the full venture. So this is going to be finesse crafts from you, and go ahead and get a 5 excellency assistance.
Okay. That's 8, 13. Okay. $11 successes,
Okay,
which makes up for last time's 0.
Mm-hmm. So that is going to be 6 threshold successes over what you needed. So write down 6 on the. Did I mention how many obstacles were in
3.
on?
Yeah,
Okay.
the main reason I was doing this is that the third one he's going to be doing this at home when I get back there. Hence why I wanted to do this part right now.
Right, okay, so mark down that you have 6 points of advantage as, again, when she starts working and following your instructions as to what to do and kind of guiding your hand, it's kind of incredible. This woman who was literally hauling a jade boat behind her with obsidian and is capable of punching you dozens of feet into the sky. Just how incredibly controlled, delicate, and meticulous her detail work is on the gauntlet. It is an entirely absolute control of her hands and absolute control over what she is thinking translated to how she is putting it on the gauntlet. She's very clearly an extremely practiced hand at embroidery and engravings and any sort of detail work.
Well, that went a lot better than I thought it would. Thank you.
Oh, what? You were worried your hand was going to explode or something?
Well, Like I said last time, I got a little too lost in it. It didn't come out quite the way I was thinking, but this definitely makes the first one make more sense. So, thank you.
Not a problem. Just let us know if you need anything else, alright?
No, for now I'm okay. Mostly, the real reason I wanted to ask you is make sure that you two were all right. Give you a
I'll be
quiet space to chat.
I'll be fine. Juan just kind of mutters. It's not the first time, won't be the last. It's certainly something not expected, but no. Sybil just kind of nods, patting him on the shoulder.
Just looking over Sybil, is this the first time or not? This is the first time in recent memory they've had this happen.
He's...
Note that Angler intentionally said they.
And she immediately corrects he.
Okay. That was mostly to give her a heads up that he knows.
And she doesn't... That just kind of rolls off her immediately. Like, yeah, he's had difficulties before when he's had old memories come up at bad times, but this is probably the most unexpected surprise he's had in quite a bit of a time. Well, surprise, not the right word, but I'm not going to speak for you. He'll be fine. He's... Juan just kind of raises a hand and kind of waves it dismissively as to be like, nah. And she just kind of trails off. And we'll be good.
Okay. Thank you then. The least I could do is... Well, I was going to say cook you a meal, but I'm pretty sure Milan's already taken care of that.
Well, I won't turn down 2 meals.
Right, you're you. Okay. Then let's go do that.
Alright, so I will have it outside as during the day, after meals are prepared and done.
Who wants chili?
The portaging begins anew, dragging down the road. And I will just, again, since the roll has been done, I will just skip forward narratively to the point where it gets to swamp. And at first, the shallow water is like ankle high, so it's not something the boat can actually go in. Until you go into the deeper parts where it starts turning into more mangrove swamp depth. And Onyx does have to shift so the keel is less low and more broad and wide and is much more kind of a flat bottom. It like completely shifting hull shape via the methods known, but is now a kind of river/lagoon barge rather than a long sailing ship. At that point, y'all are now close up enough to the Rifter Trading Company to prepare your next actions.
All right, hello, hi.
Yes, Obsidian.
So as we're approaching, I spend a mote for... I'm going to try and pronounce this right because the text is always so confusing, but Illimitable Master Fence.
Oh yeah, the illimitable master fence. The unlimitable master fence. But
Yep.
yes.
So I get to ask Essence question.
Yes.
Of what goods or service is this market lacking? I guess let's throw that one out there. There's 5, so I have to ask these.
Right. Let me think about that. What are they? Let's see. They have a high commodity luxury good. They have precious. They don't have many financial services. They actually have fewer than you think. They have enough to get people in their debt, but they usually do that through their other businesses directly. They don't have enough liquid capital to do much debt entrapment, which is partially why they have not had such a stranglehold over this area, and indicates that they're probably in a much worse position under their debtor than they are over their debtors.
Okay.
Milan is vibrating.
What's the best place here to do business quietly?
A Nirma's Rest, if you want to have your business be somewhat legitimate on the face of it, and then going out directly over to Gold Strike Mines, and because that's literally in the middle of the fucking swamp, and what is the goods and services traded there are not looked over too heavily because it's a mine in the middle of a swamp. They are digging up a bog.
All right, next one. Who here is most connected with criminals?
That would be the leader, Delos. Delos is basically criminal and guild activity are a very blurry line between them. It is a matter of what the guild decrees they don't like and what the rest of the world doesn't like. And it's so I would say by definition of criminal activity towards other areas and other things, that would be Delos. If you want the person who is most connected to like criminal against the guild itself, like activities, the net most connected and informed person would probably end up being her. So you already have her on task for that.
All right, so just person who's yeah. All right, yeah. And then the final one, who's the wealthiest person here?
Delos.
All right.
Is this
So-
information being shared with the rest of the Hearth?
Oh, 100%. Like I literally hand the
Anyway, the whole operation is run by.
By Delos Lazuda.
Hand the name of Delos to Yang.
Nope,
Be like, this is the
even though we had the entire walk from the canal to the swamp to discuss this, now that we are here, outside of the company, I will tell you the secrets.
Milan is absolutely vibrating right now.
So yeah, hey Milan, this place is sort of lacking this commodity. Hey, you should leverage that however you see fit. Hey Yang, this is the wealthiest guy in town, and also probably the most crime-filled man in town. That's the place you're gonna want to break into.
Milan is going to vibrate up to repose, presents a piece of pottery and a few chunks of cash jade, whatever the term for that is.
Yeah, like
Could
jade
you-
opals.
Could you inlay these for me?
I imagine, yeah, he probably could.
All right, what are we doing?
I'm asking you to inlay literal cash into a piece of pottery.
Yeah, that'll be finesse craft.
Yeah. You look at list of crafting charms as well.
But specifically, I want it to look like it's inlaid with all this, but some of them can just be regular gemstones. We're not handing over literal briefcase of cash.
You want you want fake briefcase of cash.
Yes, I want the appearance of I'm incredibly wealthy realm person coming.
With just enough being legitimate to be, at worst, I am wealthy but want to look wealthier.
This is what that four dots
Yes,
in
yes.
resources.
Repose will spend a while just very delicately shaving small amounts of dust off of the jade and then kind of making it into a thin paste and then painting it on to other stones and in his
Get a
usual
stunt, get a
way of
stunt.
adopting, the he is once again being a barber for inanimate objects. Just being a stylist, just painting up that look, you get to be the pretty rock today. Everyone's gonna be looking at you. Yeah.
Whew, okay, yeah, that is... They would literally need to dismantle the pot or use magic to tell that that's not just an entire jade opal worked into the... Like, for the fake ones, they would have to literally just destructively dismantle or use dragon blooded or any other sort of sorcery to figure out that's fake. It's it's an utterly flawless impersonation.
So what my plan is with all this is giving the appearance of looking like I'm walking in with someone with a lot of liquid cash. And then at the strategic moment of when they're vulnerable after the shenanigans the rest of the Hearth does, I do the bait and switch and buy whatever I'm looking for with just a bunch of pottery I've half stashed in the boat.
Mhm.
So now they have no cash and just a bunch of pots.
It is real jade glaze.
It is real jade and real pots. It's just going to be worth less than they.
Yes, and I'm only presenting this one pot as the gift, as sort of the honey pot, and then the rest of it is just the normal pots.
All right, so I think we can now, at this point, as we reach over to.
Also, the other thing that we can lead off with this is, hey, since we know where deals go down, I propose you want to go shake down some people maybe later.
Right now, you'd
Stern
be
nod.
going through the first checkpoint town Wetly, and now is time for crime. It is time for the Yakuman.
So I get a name and I just kind of dart off into the night. Or the day,
The
whatever
second
the
you
fuck.
hear the word, okay, Delos is the richest and most criminal, and where'd he go?
There's a
So-
Yakuman shaped dust cloud.
How do we do this?
So, this is a venture roll. So what we are doing is we are determining what you were doing, having a roll, and then having that progress the tracker for the long-term goal of what you're doing. What you're doing is pretty much established already, as you are finding one of Delos' buildings and busting in. The question being, all right, how do you find it and how do you bust in?
Instinct. So, just on top of the roofs, tiptoeing across shit, not really caring if people see me, just, being as unnoticeable as possible without being, conspicuous, or just like, oh, that's some weird dragon up there, whatever, who cares? And then whatever building feels off, I'm just gonna break into it.
All right, roll me
Just
fortitude
like, there's
stealth.
a lot of guards outside of that one, that's weird.
Yeah, roll me fortitude stealth.
Pretty good.
Very good. That is 3 threshold successes on the activity, and this is going to be slightly more in depth as a step, as you have busted into one of Delos' warehouses out towards the road down to the canal. So this is one of the export warehouses. So you crash through, just kind of doing your Yakuman thing, pry open one of the roofing tiles, slip under, pull the roof down on top of you, look around, and there are a couple of guards on the inside of the building, and most of them don't notice you. One very much definitively does notice you, takes one look at you, and just immediately just kind of has this reaction of stare, points to self, puts finger over own lips, and turns around and walks to another part of the building. Just, nah.
Oh
I
my
ain't
god,
paid.
finally at the Batman level of just like, no, you're not worth it.
Yep.
Like, nah, man, I'm not paid enough for you.
No, vigilantes are not part of my contract, sorry.
Was anyone in there? Nope.
So, you basically have the run of the warehouse at that point, when you realize that at least this set of mercenaries is aware enough that, hey, that's a dragon blood who wants whatever's in here. I'm not paid to die. I'm paid to sit here and look intimidating. I'm not paid to fight somebody with the Prince of the Earth powers. Fuck this. Do what you want.
Yeah,
And I ain't no
just,
snitch.
See what's in here. See where it goes. See what business.
So-
ledgers, basically.
Yeah, so the shipments, the goods and materials are kind of boring. They're what you would expect from the actual legitimate business side of things, and the even the air quotes legitimate business. It's again, dried out, pre-processed, ground up, and otherwise, some oils, so some suspensions, some tinctures, a lot of the different herbs and psychoactive materials in the swamp are here, as well as a couple of barrels of very unrefined metal ores. It looks like they don't actually have bloomeries or smelters or anything on site, and they're just selling out the raw material rather than processing it, which is a choice. That's odd. The thing that really stands out to you, though, in the ledgering is the uh, the ledgers all financially check out, but there is almost no influx of cash from external sources. It's like this warehouse's ledgers are all internal, but when it goes into debt for a given day for, building expenses or if it doesn't sell enough, there's no balancing of a budget by having somebody else shuffle in money. You would expect that this would be somewhere like, okay, if it's losing money and you're the guild and you're a criminal person, you'd be using this for your money laundering. Except there's none of that. They just let a debt sit on the book. And occasionally, a couple of times over the past 30 years, it's actually come close to having the entire warehouse be foreclosed on. So, this is actually a fairly precarious financial position, at least for parts of this trade.
How the fuck are they in business?
That is kind of the conclusion you come to, is that it's not that they're bad at this, it's that they are running a much more razor-tight margin than anyone actually would. They would rather have anybody know.
Well, that's probably the most incriminating shit I'm gonna find here. Which is to say, confusing.
So, I would say, in the Yakuman senses, you were looking for, crime. Did not find crime. However, you found weak point. You found, this is something that they really don't probably want people to know, and is also an angle of attack.
On the way out, I'm just gonna steal a crate.
Of what?
Anything. I don't care what it is. Just gonna grab something.
Okay, 1 second while I roll.
Actually, I want to roll to see how much my blind fucking luck is.
Roll me a single d10.
5.
Exactly average. You steal a crate of basically, tobacco and, kratom and other stimulants.
Well, I could do something with this.
So,
You did find don't show to the IRS.
yeah. Again, you have...
I mean, that was tangible progress. This is just fulfilling my other hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Large crimes are made of small crimes. Commit small crimes to achieve large crimes.
No one's gonna have a folder called My Crimes.
Yeah. If anything, the thing that strikes you as a little odd is that there is such an aggressive lack of book cooking. When they're willing to have a book that is legitimately out loud saying, yeah, we're kind of in a dire financial situation, rather than deep frying it so that it looks fantastic. Which either means that this is the legit ledger, or there is no cooked ledger.
There is no quote relationship because this probably just runs on a bunch of people barely being in business. If one fails, whatever, you still have a horde of debtors, basically.
Yeah.
So.
This is, as Loon mentioned, everyone else is taking risks.
How do you
Always use
steal a
someone else's
mountain?
money.
You start by pickpocketing small rocks.
All right.
This is just the gig economy.
So, we are now within the River Trading Company proper. we have one obstacle left for the initial scoping out and crimes venture, and other people's ventures are still on the table, I believe. Then what else would you all like to do?
Milan
you like
would
to
like Milan would like to make the roll for, hey, a big rich person's come to town looking to buy things.
Force presence. You are trying to be very loud and very visible. You are trying to be as much like Obsidian as you possibly can.
And I would like to use thoughtful gift technique as with the
Yes.
the literal honeypot.
Yes.
Gains double 9s as the okay. When a character offers a gift or bribes the target, she gains double 9s, so as long as the intended social action is persuasion or instill. No matter the scruples or moral strictures of the target made hereto, they are never offended by the gift.
The Minister of Transport is here to congratulate them on the newly extended canal. Welcome to the grid.
Where appropriate, character may add her dots of resources to this roll. Hey, guess who has 4 dots and received resources?
Yeah, go ahead and get the 4 roll and 2 dice done.
And you said this was
Presence and force.
Presence force, can do. That is 7 successes.
All right, that is 2 threshold successes over. So basically, what you do is you walk in and more or less channel a combination of Obsidian and every rich relative that you've ever known. That you had just kind of the internal reaction of like, dial it down a little bit. But no, like now you are completely just channeling every little bit of I am dripping rich. I am fabulously wealthy. I am here to be a magnanimously just rich and fabulous, just throwing around my wealth as a kind of extension of goodwill. Hello, etc. And it doesn't take very long for you to get extraordinarily noticed. Like, you are probably going to every local shop and buying things you don't really need at, like, double markup price just because. Like, you are just doing conspicuous shows of wealth and consumption and gratuitous patronage. At which point, you get one of the merchants who appears to be, judging from the dress, she seems to be pretty high up there in the this city. Just kind of smiling and bowing to you. Hello, welcome. If we had known we had such an illustrious guest coming, we would have prepared something for you. I apologize deeply.
The apologies are mine. I love to make I'm trying to find the right word for this.
Mm-hmm.
My brain has completely shut down, but I'm going for I like to show up, surprise the rich person is here. I like to catch.
You like to make an entrance.
I like to make an entrance. Yes.
Well, we are very humbled and grateful to meet you. Welcome to me. My name is Sean. Is there anything I can assist you with? It's quite wonderful to have you.
Why, yes. I have come into ownership of a sizable portion of land, and I have come seeking resources so that I may develop it.
Well, you've certainly come to the right organizations. We can do our best in terms of our location. In terms of what do you need for your supplies? What are just raw materials, labor, tools?
Oh, I do need the human resource, so to speak. Show me where the slaves out of character. Show me where the slaves are so I can swindle you out of these slaves and emancipate them.
So I did
That
mention
that part is out of character.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did mention a while back that they actually do very minimal slave trade. So when you are,
I forgot that part.
However, you do find basically, effectively prisoners of war rather than slaves. Rather, it is not. It is contract work, indentured rather than slave. So
Okay.
you would be able to find like people that you could buy out the work contracts of rather than like slaves.
Okay, yeah. So I'm buying out the these people's work contracts. And this is going to be. I wanted to do this as the venture for getting my starting settlers into my new territory.
Okay, and was that role that you made for that, or was that for
That was the presence role for my
for going in?
yeah.
Um,
And this is
how many advantage points do you have?
I am at six net threshold successes.
And how many obstacles do you have left?
I'm at 3 successes of
They're
5.
obstacles.
Two more
okay.
obstacles.
Okay, so let's call this one a finesse embassy.
Okie dokie. Looking through, see if there's anything I wanted to use. May I still use my wealth resource? My resource merit as bonus
Yes.
to this. Okay.
Yeah, though a lot of those merits are when context relevant. Add its rating to your
Add
die
rare
pool.
Yep.
rating as dice.
Seven successes.
Okay.
I'm here to buy manpower.
And by manpower you have. You now have 3 extra threshold or advantage successes. You basically walk in with your vases and just kind of do interviews with the people there and ask around in general. So what about the contract labor for that business over there? Basically, it is not just this Xian you were talking to in terms of who you can buy out. You are able to basically buy out the people who are under, indentured contract through most of this city from how much wealth you have. Remember, resources 4 is enough that out here you could basically buy this city if you know tactically where to do it. So you have not bought the entire labor force, but you have bought the entire labor force that doesn't get to live.
Yes. And of course, I am directing them over to Obsidian, where the not pirate can properly. I'm essentially giving these people, okay, if you have homes you want to go back to, you can go back to your homes. People who
immediately, probably once you get out of city limits, grab the stack of paperwork, light it on fire, and give them the warlord.
Yeah.
If any of them were arriving in chain or shackle or any other manner of metal restraint, there will have been a quiet recommendation from Propose to Obsidian to make a proper showing of breaking one of those chains.
Yeah, a couple of them are
rip it apart
chained
with your bare hands.
Yeah, a couple of them are chained, so Obsidian is able to tear it open. A lot of them are not, but some of them, their employers, as it were
so
much
that
more.
Propose can then take
twitchy.
the debris left behind from that and kind of quietly sweep it over back into the shop, and that's getting alloyed into the new rings for the sword.
Hey, it's free iron.
Knew it.
Iron.
And yeah, anyone who doesn't want to move to my new settlement is allowed to go home.
Yeah, so with the threshold successes you got, probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the people are just all right, we're just gonna go back to where we were settled, or we're going to go back to another. Even some people are going back into the Rift Trading Company. It's just a matter of technically speaking, they're no longer legally in debt, so we could just go back home to where we were and get a job that is not actually exploitative and put us in like dead slavery.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people are kind of wandering back out. A couple of people are like very well out of the way and have a while to go, but a fair number of them are just like, you know what? It's probably going to be more interesting to be with you than to do anything else, or I have nothing else to go back for, or other reasons. So you probably get I'd say about 20 people in total would be willing to be like, nah, I'm going with you.
All right. And that is my fourth success. Was there any threshold successes on that?
That was
7.
3, as I mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
And just go and look up the base difficulty of artifact smithery. So with that roll, Repose is, among the other things that are getting done here, puts in the time to prepare the final alloy that will be used and get it drawn out into the appropriate gauge of wire, and he's going to make the rings.
Okay, so yeah, where is that? I remember artifacts are kind of their own thing, so
Base obstacles for difficulties are usually 4 or 5.
okay, I would call it a difficulty 5, because of all the work that has been going into it. So that gets you a 4 threshold success.
Taking the total accumulated up to 13, there is one more obstacle worth of use to be done to prepare ringing steel.
Yes. Now, we've got the crime, we've got the liberation. What else would we be doing in the first city as part of preparations, or else what would we be doing? You're not quite in the capital city of it yet. Anything? Or...
Off the top of my head, I got nothing.
Repose will meet back up with that mortuary.
Oh yeah, okay.
Once again, drop in, meet up, exchange news.
Mm-hmm. So...
In particular, mostly here focused on, I was here earlier and we talked about mysterious deaths investigated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now acquainted with the causes of these incidents. There's no persistent threat in this. There's nothing further to be alarmed about. I met with the guardian of these waters, and they proved to be of good manner and sound balance.
They look quite impressed at that, but not long.
Yep, so just swamp news. Other news relating to just, incidents that have happened over in the area around the seasons. Just, strike up conversation about all of that.
Mm-hmm. So, for what they would be saying is, from their processing of the dead lately, it's been, largely business as usual for them. There have been a couple of unusual deaths along the lines of what you found before. Again, it would be the SLC defending themselves, largely. The one death that they can't explain would be somebody from the capital city that was actually sent around to several different mortuaries to investigate the body to figure out what the hell happened. And they actually invite you to take a look because they just kind of throw up their hands and like, we have no idea. So they take you out into the back of the mortuary, and actually through a door that has a protective ward on it because, they explain to you, it's a very... You'll see when you see the body. You feel safe to take precautions even if we don't know precisely what it is. It doesn't seem to be contagious, but it is certainly pale. They remove the seal temporarily, open the doors, go inside. There is a coffin that they move aside, and looking inside of it is a pretty gnarled up body. It is somewhat bloated. It is clear that there has been some sort of preservation, techniques to keep it roughly in the state where they were when they died, rather than having it keep decaying. But at first glance, it looks like it was in the middle of decaying. The flesh is puffed out. The hair has all fallen out. The eyes are sunken and just almost entirely red with burst blood vessels. The gums, the lips are kind of curled back a little bit, and if pried back a little further, the gums are all bloodied and raw. The fingernails are, brittled and weakened, and several actually crumbled all the way off. And there are open pits and sores all over the body. It is very clearly something really nasty happened to this person. And you can roll me finesse sagacity to try to figure out what in the hell that is, with a difficulty of 6.
Well, this does feel like a situation that would benefit from the presence of my brother, who is a doctor.
Yes.
Who would probably
Soma?
have, when carried worded.
The player is
Yeah.
cooking a steak, but can still hear you,
Understandable.
so-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. What do we need?
We're examining a gnarly corpse to determine its
I'm gonna
cause of
give
death.
you-
We need to cross-reference and examine the body.
Yes, or an autopsy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to tending my. That's a big thing. Hold on. Well, you can figure out. Because I've got a steak.
All right, so that is 5, and the 1 extra because this is deep teamwork. As
Yep.
Repose just starts going through the process of the autopsy and talking to no one is there when he starts, but at some point Yang just appears and falls into place.
And is filling in the questions that you were asking. Yeah.
Brutal.
Rough. I feel like there should be a clause if the teamwork roll is better than the end roll.
Did you throw the extra 1 dice for being dragon blooded?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, you're sitting here and feeling like you should know what this is, but you just you've never seen anything like this. And that in and of itself is something kind of worrying, is that no, you've never seen a dead body that looks like this in any way at all. I'm going to rule it that since the assistance roll hit the difficulty and you didn't, I'm going to have Yang half get it.
All right.
So
one last secondary thing to have contribute here. Moat's gonna have a chance to get a sniff at the weird thing.
Doom, holy crud, Doom. Oh my god, it has never smelled more like Doom than it smells like right there. Oh god, get it away.
Yes, very doom.
Moat actually takes a sniff and then immediately just kind of explodes into a fur ball of puffed out hair and arched back and leaps backwards out of the room. So
Moat is not productive in this, but
yeah.
outwing.
So Yang would remember vaguely from both discussion of Sybil on the boat mentioning a disease that she had been worried about called the green sun wasting. This sounds vaguely like it could be like that, but you don't. Yang does not remember what it was, what it comes from, what it really does, but it sounds like Yang was half paying attention during that monologue and was like, wait, hang on, that sounds kind of like what she was talking about. So Yang probably says those words out loud of just, what was that? So Repose would overhear it, and Repose would, in character, remember what Sybil said about it, but with that success roll, know nothing else about what that is.
Will Soulfire cremate the body, and overnight we will hold a wake seance, see if there is any remnant spirit that is willing to testify on the subject.
Nope. If there was a spirit, it either moved on or got deep fried.
Okay. Get out of the desk. Go away.
Do we know how long ago this person died?
About, probably at this point, check. A little over a week.
And where?
They died in the capital. Sorry, so no, that the main city of the
Just
river trading.
in the city is the extent of the
They were
Oh.
literally just found in the street, completely obliterated. Like they had just maybe like dropped dead in the middle of walking. Possibly as sudden onset, possibly as they were trying to get out of wherever they were to get help and didn't. It is unclear.
That could be anything.
I think we may have found Green's trail.
That's enough for us to work on. Adventure?
Adventure.
Venture awaits.
Stepping away a moment.
Okay, so let me go over update calendar again. Is now Ascending Wood 12. The morning of which, as you are approaching the capital of the Rifter Trading Company, calling it a capital doesn't quite feel right, but there's no other word for it. It is the densest city in the area. It is the heart of their network. It is the hub, the headquarters, things like that. But it's not really built to be a big, impressive capital city. It's there to be a function. It is there to do stuff. It is artisan houses, it is workshops, it is housing, it is... There are no frills here. There is nothing really fancy. Anything here is purely in service of keeping the machine of the trade. And, some of that includes things like bars and other diversionary stuff for morale's purposes and things like that. But there's no big public parks. There's very little in the way of public works. It's all utilitarian.
Oh, Milan's going to enter the town in the same way he has in the last.
Okay.
Big, grandiose, looking to buy.
Alright, I won't make you roll for that a second time. I'll just have you coast on your previous successes. This time, you do definitely get noticed, very quickly. However, it is less overawing to the people here, and more just like is there another member of the guild here? Oh, wait, Realm? Well, that's weird. It's less that this is an outside context, holy shit, drop everything and appease the richest person here, and more, oh wow, I didn't expect one of the movers and shakers to drop by, but okay, hello. It is a very different tonal reaction.
Yep, and this time around, my aim is to act as a distraction and smokescreen for Yang's actions in town. I'm trying to be the big
shiny object
the
everybody
big shiny
looks at.
object to distract people.
Okay. You can roll Force Presence as an assist roll to finesse stealth for Yang to finish out the investigation.
That will be 5 plus the dragon blood, 6
So
extra
6.
dice.
So Yang, you get 6 extra dice on Fin's.
That's a 16.
Yep.
All right. Can we get a 17 by using excellence or something?
Well, do you have the stealth excellency?
Probably.
If you have it, then you add your number of stealth dice again by spending 1. But you cannot add more than 10 dice to a roll at from a combination of
16 will do.
Okay. 6 dice is exactly the threshold, actually. So there is no threshold successes on this. So, what exactly is your target here? Is it like the main building? Is it one of the outlying things that Delos owns?
Trying to
His
figure
personal
whatever
housing?
the next step up in the racket is that like, okay, well, they got these people who think that they're going to make it rich one day, but they're actually in debt and barely staying alive. So who's profiting from them?
So,
Feeling that who's profiting from them, and then so on.
yeah. Okay, so that is actually like probably most of 2 or 3 days for Yang to do that, because turns out trying to network and map the economic ties everyone has to everyone else in this city is a fucking nightmare. It is a giant interwoven snake pit of reciprocal debts and financial everybody else is leaning on everybody else and robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of situations.
Yeah,
So
we're all loading. We all have loaded guns pointing at each other's heads, and that's society somehow.
Yeah. And it is in a stable state because if everybody knows, okay, we've all got guns pointed at each other's heads. But if I pull the trigger, then all the other triggers go off and we all die. So I can't actually benefit from that. So it is a mutually stable until somebody shoves the network over. It's, any given systemic risk buildup within stock markets, things like that. We've got plenty of real examples.
Boy, it would be real bad if a sharpshooter just happened to take a shot.
Or if somebody just fired wildly into the sky and had no skin in the game. But it takes, I would say it takes 3 days of intense searching and breaking through and rifling through records, putting them back, taking the ones that don't make sense, reforging things for Yang to find out the ground level and then find out the strata above that, where it is the people who have people in their debt but are not utterly controlled by debt themselves, but still have a little bit.
They're
So
the
that-
thing that the people below them aspire to.
Yes, the
Do
people
not
who
know there's
actually make
someone
it.
further above them.
Yeah, the people in the multi-level marketing scheme who actually are making it work because they are the ones who got in earlier, they're the ones who could work the system, or they're the ones with the nepotism or things like that. The
Just
ones
the most okay with using people.
the ones who everybody will point at and say, this is how the entire system works. This is the dream. This is how everybody can do it. And then above them is Delos and a lot of the direct representatives from larger branch or regional organizations of the guild itself. They directly are the ones where if the front fell off and everybody in debt defaulted at once and the entire collapse under them happened, they would be pretty bruised and, seriously economically injured and have their image ruined, but they'd still walk away because they have enough assets squirreled away elsewhere. Everybody else would be totally ruined. These people would just be like, well, shit, square one.
They get to start over.
Yes. More accurately, they start over with a little bit in the bank where everybody else is starting over in debt. Again. So,
Doesn't remind me of anything at all.
look. You give me a plot thread and I'll fill it out. Anyway. So, largely, you have the network of stress points mapped out and have figured out largely. Okay, actually, we're at the end of the venture now. How many advantage points do we have in total?
It was like 3 for the first one, and then I've lost track for the rest.
Was Shit, I should have been writing them down
It was
myself.
a 5 at some point, and then
Milan got 7 on hit, 7 successes, so that was like I think 2.
10. So we're at 10.
I didn't do a roll. I just found information.
Right. And then this last one was exactsies. So we'll call it 10 advantage points. So now this is how a conclusion of a venture works, is that you can take all the threshold successes you got and turn it into direct pieces of advantage. So here are examples of what you can get from information gathering. This is on page 157 of the manuscript. An accurate profile of the person you're investigating, granting +1 to sagacity rolls related to them, 1 success per dice up to a maximum of 3. Learn someone's secrets, which decreases their resolve when you leverage it against them. 2 successes per each, maximum of -3. An official authority, either false or real, that allows you access to one-off limited or off-limits resources, places, or information sources. 3 successes and 2 uses maximum. So you can cash in like 3 successes for a one-time, I can get into this off-limits area with no problems and nobody stopping
I
me.
feel like a dossier would be more helpful.
Okay. So, an accurate profile would be 1, 2, 3.
That's a very broad thing, though. Like, I don't know how to
9.
give that to us.
Right, so, okay. Accurate profile of offender. If you get 3 to sagacity rolls against Delos, and then -3 to his resolve, that's 9 successes, and then you can cast off the other one. And I feel like that's appropriate for the level of work that you put into the adventure to basically have a pretty complete picture of him and the biggest leverage that you can get against him. And as it has been established at this point and foreshadowed, Delos locally is in control of the economy. Delos locally has the economic advantage. Delos is the one who has all of the debts working up to him, enriching him, buying off, having a cut out of everything. Delos took out a absolutely colossal loan from Nexus, directly from people in Nexus to finance the level of sheer manpower, transport, protection, etc. that would be necessary to get all the way up the river, all the way into the 100 Kingdoms, establish yourself in the 100 Kingdoms, not get by everybody who doesn't want the guild here, etc. More accurately, Delos did not take that loan. The trading company itself did, and Delos has inherited it by being the head of the company. And that loan, of course, had interest on it, and it is to a predatory degree. There's the minimum payments that they're paying, of course, but it is one of those things where, barring an absolutely ridiculous windfall of some form or another, they're never going to get out. This is, you are now stuck here doing this for the rest of your life to make these payments, and the rest of the lives of people after it. So, the only way out Delos really has from being indebted to the actual seriously enriched members of the guild is more money than God.
Oh, hey, rich man presenting a lot of wealth just walked into town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
a wicked mark for them, probably.
So, yeah, that would be... You definitely get the feeling of being scoped out and evaluated and watched, but you don't actually have people directly approaching you at first, and for a while, actually. You get the feel, like, it is one of those things where the expectation is that they expect you to notice that you have been noticed, and then they will see if you are the sort that reaches out first, or if they will be reaching out to you next. They're evaluating the power dynamic. field.
Milan is going to start going up to the top.
All right. There is very little interruption. The second that you just kind of make your way and chat your way through and progress your way up the social power chain, the doors kind of open up. There are pretty much nobody in your way in terms of making you stop or explaining stuff. And you are able to go pretty much straight to the main guild hall of the guild, where not just Delos, but all of the other stakeholders in the company gather to do their meetings and also do their administrations. But it is, again, less a government building, more of an office. And when you make it clear that you want to see Delos, they give you a brief showing around of the office building, but they also explain to you that Delos currently is not actually in his home. He is in one of his homes out in Goldstrike, overseeing the operation to make sure that it is going well, as there had been a dip in productivity, and he figured that his personal presence would make people work harder. In the whole kind of like insinuation of he's being there so he can overwatch things and make a direct order of, if I see anybody slacking, throw him out a window, kind of sort of boosting productivity.
Okay, what do we as a team want out of this? Because I'm currently poised to walk in there with the promise of buying stuff with money, and then, whoops, I just paid for everything with pottery. Later, dorks.
Well, I feel like the main thing that we're building towards here is rebellion.
Yeah, okay.
Is an overthrow. Of which many tools can go into that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what my current thought is, I've been since I've been buying out manpower and essentially burning off these debts, the bottom layer of the debt pyramid has fallen away. It's going to start
Crumbling and rippling outward.
Yeah.
All right, I have two tangible tasks to accomplish in the city that fit within the same body of work. So, particularly since we're here for a couple of days, since Yang is doing the elaborate investigation needed to chart the whole pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So Repose very early in this, heads about the streets, experiences the local spread of human misery, and then gets himself situated somewhere nice and public and visible and well trafficked, and sets up a space in which to distribute free shoes made to order. Just small, slow-burning charity work that involves getting people to come in, sit down, and talk for a while, and then walk away with a fairly visible token of the fact that they have partaken in this.
You clever bastard.
And in keeping from the news that we have from over here, so hey, do you by any chance see that guy who fucking exploded the other week? That was really bad. That was really weird, right?
That's a
Town's
fucked up
cursed,
story,
right?
isn't it?
Monk is here to be like, yep, do minor charity work, and hey, yeah, so your town is haunted.
Like mad goddamn haunted.
You got some dooms here, huh? You're a bit infested. 'Tis the season to tear off the dead wood and promote good new growth.
New life.
When you need to be on guard to prevent weeds from poisoning your fields and destroying all of your hard work that you want to harvest at the end of the season. It would just be terrible if something had infiltrated your society and was threatening to just strip you of all of the proceeds of your hard-won
Extract all
labor.
nitrogen from your soils. Shit.
And this will also provide a convenient landing point for whenever Burr shows up and starts to produce the results of her contribution to the work. That's an easy meeting ground for. All right, yeah. Look for everyone who has a new pair of sandals.
Mm-hmm. All right. Give me a fortitude craft roll with a stun. Okay.
New shoes. Everyone gets new shoes.
It is to
New
the
shoes.
point.
New shoes.
It is to the
New
point
hat.
where there is a moment where you've noticed that there is kind of what looks to be kind of the local gang of goons and toughs. You know, somebody horning in on, you know, somebody doing free charity and stealing away profits from some merchant who's upset and hired a gang of toughs. And then they come up and they observe what you're doing and they just kind of stop. And number one, it is clear that they're looking at the shoes and going, wait, you're giving that away for God damn. They kind of just look at their own boots and they're like,
Free shoes,
And-
free hats, free shoemaking techniques. Do you want to up your game shoe-wise?
Yeah, like it is like basically your sermons and also the services you are providing and just kind of giving people, and then the kind of clear subtextual, man, it's a monk. It's also probably a prince of the earth. We're not beating up a monk. Are you out of your mind? It is just kind of like there would have normally been some sort of kind of quasi to overtly violent pushback against this sort of horning in and unstabilization of like just overt
Right. also, I
power
was
challenge.
gonna,
But then everybody kind of walks in and goes, well, not only are you actually doing a pretty good deal, I'm also not good. Like, no,
I
I'm
was
not.
gonna leverage my gossip contacts into this as well to be able to like surgically target a lot of the conversation to make sure it will propagate very quickly.
Yeah, so like it is like through the 3 days, it is something where you would not normally understand or not expect someone making free shoes and making small talk to be a citywide event within 3 days, but when you were because like you would probably be cranking this out. It obviously has dragon-blooded power level crafting of just shoot. So yeah, not only is like most of the impoverished people of the city, and honestly a lot of the middle class, just coming over to do the talks and the free shoes and get spiritual consultation, and just figure out, hey, we got a wandering outcast here. Neat. Anybody who was thinking of starting shit is like, have you seen that guy? Have you seen the fact that he's turning like the public all into liking him, and also could probably personally just tie me to a pretzel? I'm not doing shit. You can't pay me enough. So, like, Repose has very much bought a safe perch for the Hearth in terms of, if not overt resistance, then just casually undermining via presence by virtue of, what are you gonna do, punch a monk? So yeah, that leaves everybody else 3 days in the city to do what they would like.
The founding legends of the Clog Gang.
Milan is in the process of flooding the market with pottery.
You are flooding the market with pottery. You are probably giving the people who are genuinely deep in debt and need help out the actual legitimate goods, and then the people who are being predatory about their loans and debts, and you are giving them, like, the low quality ones, or just ones that you are not even the good ones from the town, because again, even the worst things from Clay Bottom are pretty high quality. So you would either be taking them for a ride on exactly how high quality they are, or you're just actually just giving them forgeries, probably, that are being spun out by Angler or Yang or Repose or yourself, honestly, because you have craft dots.
I went to Repose, but he kept making them too nice to where they actually had value.
No, it has to look nice, but it has to be worthless.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm going to give these to the people who need need finances. Okay, you can keep going.
You went to propose and he gave you a bunch of ceramic shoes.
Ugh, oh god, my feet. Oh, I just imagined walking on that and it hurt.
Yeah. Oh, feet.
Ah, yeah, I have high arches and they just kind of twitched.
Guess who's been walking around in heels all weekend?
It's an extremely power statement, but yeah, no. Take care of you feet.
Yes.
Arsha has.
Yes, exactly.
So, Angler, Old Man, yeah, and Obsidian would have time as well.
Angler's gonna walk into the local swamp and just kind of dissolve into the water and go find the swamp god.
Angler things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the body of water charm is being activated.
Yeah, this would be the flowing god dragon stance.
Okay. Make me a finesse navigate roll to try to find him efficiently as possible.
God. Why would you say navigate?
Okay, wait. What?
No, it's fine. That's full. I'm just fooling around. I can absolutely do that. 6.
All right. So it does not actually take you very long, because of a combination of knowing what to do and also being a high essence dragon blood getting into the swamp, and a god is just noticing what the hell is that. Before, yeah, the swamp father, the immense alligator, just kind of emerges from the cloudiness of the water before you, as you are just kind of a free flowing state of water within it. It just kind of emerges from the depth and has one of the nictating membranes of the eye just kind of closing over as it blinks, and is just like, well, I didn't expect to be seeing you again so soon.
Oh, there you are. So, you know that place to the south of here where all those people are doing terrible things?
You're going to have to be more specific. There are quite a bit of South people doing terrible things.
That's my fault. You're right. I should have been more specific. The Riftwood Trading Company.
There is a pause as the god is thinking. Ah, yes, the guild.
Yeah,
Right,
the
yes.
guild. Well, my hearth and various others are going to start causing mischief there. So we wanted to give you a heads up before we start causing problems in your waters, and if you wanted to help out.
Please define mischief. Intense stare from crocodile, like alligator eye.
Taking out all the bad people and putting in people who are going to keep the actual ecosystem flowing properly. Less drugs.
Is this going to impact the ecosystem of the swamp itself?
I can't promise there won't be some minor damage, what with my crew being my crew, but in the long term it will be much better.
Then I do not care what happens to them.
Fantastic. You might, if you have an opportunity, since I don't believe I can make it up there and back, warn the people up north that things are going to be happening down here. So they don't get worried. In fact, you know what? Let me take that back. I'll just swim up there myself. I want to see how fast I can go.
Understandable. And it just kind of goes back to swimming. Is just the kind of has it wash off of just like, oh, something's going to be happening to the humans that are just kind of screwing around. Whatever. I don't care. Is it impacting the part that I'm a god of? No. Carry on.
Kinda. I mean, the southern section there would be where he's a god of, correct? Or is he god of just north part of swamp?
He is god of entire swamp.
Uh-huh.
And like, it is a matter of like, okay, I can deal with some disruption, but also like, shrug.
Yeah, swamp is swamp. It'll regrow really quickly if something bad happens.
Yeah, it's like there are humans that have been cultivating and maintaining and getting things from swamp. That's nice, I guess, but like that's an imposition rather than my job. Like they're not they're nice as a source of bribes. Is basically the only thing that God has an opinion on of the matter. And that bribes come and bribes go.
Yeah, I mean, this way the bribes will be less. Please don't destroy our operation. More, we think you're rad. Just we're gonna give you offerings in general. Which reminder to Angler for the long run: talk to Burr. She should probably make sure she knows about the Swamp God. And then he's gonna head up and pretty much give the same news to all of the relatives around. Don't just swoosh like Aquaman or some better than Aquaman. What am I talking about? But that's probably what he'll be doing during most of the time while everyone else is doing other related business, because it'll probably take him a day or two to go all the way up there and back.
Okay. So Obsidian and Old Man, any ideas?
What is Old Man doing during all this?
Obsidian
I have
Old
no
Man are hanging
idea.
out.
Sure. Sounds like a plan.
Now, what are we doing? Actually, no. Here we go. Actually, I would have been able to observe this one way or another. Is Old Man still in the never ask me what I want to do mode? Or does Old Man actually want things now?
Honestly, no. He still doesn't. The thing
Okay.
is that he's just much more able to. He's much more willing to go out and see if someone else has a problem, basically. He himself still doesn't really want to do anything about himself.
Okay. Then, in that sense, I probably would have picked up on that. Oh, I have no idea where to go from this, but pretty much it would be Obsidian asking Old Man if he wants to go cause trouble, maybe for the embetterment of the people's lives around here, since I know where a lot of the commerce is done.
The difference in how Old Man responds is not, instead of saying no, of like, of course I don't want to, he instead asks do you want to?
Rubs his shin. I don't know, I think it'd be fun.
It sounds like you want to.
Yeah.
Then let's do it.
No idea where to go from this. I just
Time for crime.
I just had the thought process of what if Old Man and Obsidian went off and were gremlins to people. And that's where the thought process for this ended.
Well, I feel like that's a very Obsidian thing to do. Like, genuinely, I think you would get off the boat, walk into town, and then Obsidian would be standing there and just go,
I didn't think this through.
There's still very few meaningful ways that Old Man can be a gremlin on a public social scale. He is a gremlin in nature and by raw not fitting attitude, but he's still harmless.
You also still do have influence.
In fact, he's got more influence now. I believe I increased his influence to 4, yes.
Mm-hmm. So if you do something, it will be taken extreme notice of.
He walks with like his back a little bit straighter than he used to, just because being relatively short in and of itself, and no longer way high up on ridiculously long Geta, he kind of just by necessity had to straighten out his back to be able to speak with people in general. And he looks up at Obsidian these days. Instead of being roughly on eye level with Obsidian.
Yeah.
And well,
we get there and it's just like, well, crime happens here, and I didn't really think this out much further than, well, crime happens.
honestly, it's not really my first instinct would be to assist in solving a crime of sorts. Or at least anything that inconveniences or makes things more unpleasant for people. Turns out that
Oh.
perhaps the obsidian and old man combo is a little bit more boring than you might have initially thought.
And I just saw this in chat and no, this is actually the perfect thing.
Oh,
Hey, old man,
oh no.
Yes.
of all the things that you can do, can you still play people in Mahjong for money?
I mean, theoretically, I could. There's many variants of Mahjong I'm still allowed to play. It's a game
Okay.
with hundreds of variants.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right, let me go ahead and do a roll to see which versions are contemplated around here to see if old man is allowed to or not.
Give me a. Did you have an idea for a roll? Or...
Not really. No, I would assume something more like finesse and
finesse, sagacity, probably.
All right, sure, yeah. Up, didn't impersonate. It's fine. Yeah, it's 4 successes, so like, there's probably at least a few around that old man's like a-okay.
You got a half dozen that you are able to skate by on.
Maybe one's like not as common as others, but
yeah, they'll know it's not common, but they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, okay.
We've heard of Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, I'm going to slide a suggestion in here for the exact thing that I have thought of.
Hold on.
All right, go ahead.
The equivalent, it's definitely not Texas Hold'em. That's what
it's called
from. No, it's Omaha. It's
I was
the
thinking
Omaha
the
equivalent.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, ever heard of Omaha poker? I guess. Are you sure you don't want to play Texas Hold'em? No, I can't.
No, I was going for it's Mahjong, but it's called Texas Hold'em.
I see.
No, you mean Nexus Hold'em.
No.
No, it's Nexus Hold'em.
Oh, the stanky Mahjong.
The idea of like not being able to play Texas Hold'em but saying no, it has to be Omaha is a completely wild thing to me.
Yeah, I think that gets the right energy across if you would just look at the other person across the table like, what are you, a pervert?
Because that is the only way you can react to someone who refuses to play Texas but will
only play Omaha, never Texas. It's what?
Yeah.
So, to expand on this, and just the weirdness of what it is and how it will work into the scheme well, it's a weird one-on-one variant of Mahjong.
Okay.
And
this has happened more than once.
Yes, to expand on this furthermore, so Obsidian has this idea once old man explains this particular variant, and he slams down a table, don't ask where he got it from, old man, and a Mahjong set, and starts very loudly declaring that whoever can defeat this old man in Mahjong will receive, and then he has this amount of money because Obsidian has 2 merits of wealth.
Yeah, you have enough money
a couple
to get
talents of silver, if it's going to be like 2 resources.
Let's just say knife edge deathmatch.
He said just a knife edge deathmatch.
Like 10 talents of silver every time you beat him, and like that would get like probably a dozen people immediately be like, hello, yes, yeah. And it's like, and they would be like, wait,
so,
you don't have to.
And then the further thing about this is that we specifically went to where business is being handled to try and target, the merchants that maybe are getting a bit too much money because of the businesses that they're having on the side. I'm trying to drain some money out of the merchants.
Out of there, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I do warn you, I'm a stinker.
So there is a self-selection process of the people who look at old man, currently, copper body, get a obvious sorcerer, being
Obvious
introduced.
sorcerer of surprising power, because it's more than just sorcerer of because it's more than just copper
Yeah.
body and Geta now. It's, you know,
Yeah, all
it's
the
also light glittering and stuff like that.
yeah, like the quasi star metal effects and things like that. And so it's like there is the self-winnowing process of that being introduced by the 8-foot brick shithouse that can only be a dragon plug, because who else would that be? And then there are the people who are smart enough to go, you know what? Nah. And then there are the people who are thinking with their whole with their financial ledger just going, fuck it, yeah, no, I'm in. So absolutely, people just rushing in, pulling out their purse, and just being like, "Yeah, no, I can beat you. I got this. I'm smart. I'm a genius. You live in society."
And old man's going to distinctly not like cheat. He doesn't cheat. He's that's something that he refuses to do. So I'm not even gonna like bother looking through my charms or anything like that to see what I could theoretically do. So instead, it's just going to be pure. I like you to try and come at me. Let's go.
All right. Again, as has been established, you can choose any dice pool you would like, so long as you can justify it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be force sagacity with this, I think. Because as old man's playstyle, as I've described more than once at this point, of being very going with his gut and like just allowing fate to determine his path on it, which is kind of weird considering everything else about him, is now slightly different from how it used to be. Instead of allowing fate to, like, he just tries to kind of, he forces hands more often than he used to, and that actually, like, they end up working out instead of being like he just always went with the hand that he was given.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead and roll that with this stunt.
All right. All right, so 7 successes off that then.
And then opposing. Oh yeah, no, you are absolutely just fucking hustling and sharking everybody who comes up to the table. You are good enough at it where it is not even intentional, probably on old man's part, but how it works out is you lose enough rounds to make them way overconfident and put in way too much stakes, and you blow them out in the next round. And it always looks like it is kind of a fluke enough that no one else is quite scared away. There are a couple of people who, after watching a couple of rounds, have, the front of their brain turn on and go, you know what? Okay, yeah, actually bad idea. But then there are enough people who are like, I mean, if I just cash out
But their
early,
losses are added to the prize pool.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone could win it all here at the bog.
Yes, exactly. It's like, I mean, fuck, we just fell into that. God damn it.
Swamp.
But yeah, everybody is just like, I mean, like, yeah, no, it's just that whole thing is, and like, for everyone who is smart enough to walk away, there is somebody who just pours out their entire purse into it, trying to get it, and just walks away going, God damn it. So after a while, it is absolutely just the situation where a bunch of people have been hustled out of their current liquid money and are just kind of cursing and swearing and threatening, and like not in a way where they are really clearly intending to go threaten to get somebody, because I mean, like, they could look at Obsidian alone, if not Old Man himself, and realize, you know what, we don't actually got this. I'm gonna pretend I got this for the sake of my ego and my face, but I really don't got this. I'm gonna swear that I'm gonna get you someday, and then I'm gonna walk off and hope everybody forgets I say that.
And the people who actually look really heartbroken about it are given a nice pair of sandals.
Or, yeah, the people who are really heartbroken get a pair of sandals, and I'm gonna just rule this because, again, because an old man is now an exigent, but fate acts extremely strangely around, the people who really genuinely desperately need money and are at the bottom of the chain of exploitation are the ones who win and cash out the pot.
Anyone who is someone who obviously does not need the money and is just someone who is a very rich, get richer, my number needs to keep going up sort of thing. They're the ones who lose the worst.
Greed Greed loses and need wins, and it is becoming apparent that Old Man is partially doing that on purpose, but like there are situations where Old Man literally just gets blessing of heaven against somebody who puts a jade oval on the table, and it's just like, well, bye. I had nothing to do with that. You just lose. Heaven said so.
And listen, I'm not cheating. Anyone can see it. My hands are as empty.
Yeah,
It's
there
like
are actually
sorcery is extremely obvious to do, and my hands are very empty.
like there are a couple of people who actually get mad enough to start like ripping over and tearing up and like looking under the dead walls to see if there's any stacking or if there's any manipulation. And when they find it, just leave even angrier because they are absolutely like, no, you can't. There is no cheating. We would be able to see if you were cheating. You would be glowing if you were cheating.
I'm completely fair. You're just a loser.
God. Yeah, so by the end of this, there is just like a lot of really pissed off rich people who are suddenly in a worse financial position, and a lot of people who have like made at minimum like their month's rent, if not bought out a large chunk of their debt by virtue of all of the people losing the shirt off their back for the day. And just there are a lot of people who are just quietly giving prayers and blessings, if some in Old Man's direction and some skyward, of just the religious people. Like, you know, everybody is religious, but the particularly pious people in this city are seeing this as like, okay, no, this is divinity at work. This is the will of heaven in some fashion or another, and we're just gonna thank whatever is involved with this and move on.
Guess who has a charm that actually can read that?
Yep.
And it's like, ooh, that's an interesting experience. Oh, that's tasty.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's what it's like to breathe with your whole body.
No, this time it's more like breathing with your whole brain. It's like
Your whole ass.
Bloody dumbass. You're supposed to breathe with the brain, not the body.
Yeah, it's just the few prayers that are directed quietly in Old Man's direction, kind of like low key where nobody is looking. Old Man can actually kind of feel them, not quite get the words out of them, but there is the warmth of sunlight across his body, a sensation of just like, whoa, okay.
Receive, thank.
Actually get something out of this. All right, that's pretty good. Anyway.
So yeah. that
We
is-
also, because we give away so much money, actually come out of this with no money gained.
like any of your initial stakes are probably gone. But it was compared to what was actually put in by everybody else, pittances.
And the good news about that is that that's actually how I would prefer it. Because I still don't want money. That's garbage. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
I
have
don't
no
need it.
use for
Therefore,
it.
I've got no use for it under any circumstance. Therefore, why in
like-
the world would I have it?
Yeah, like somebody wins the whole pot and nobody else is willing to come in and stake it, and then the game just ends because of that, because Old Man's like, well, are you going to put in any more money? It's like, Old Man's like, what? No.
Points at that was his money.
Actually, there's no differentiating made whatsoever there. The old man still doesn't care.
God.
Anyway, that's
was-
that's the Old Man Obsidian scene.
That was fantastic, and actually, while it was not a dedicated venture, I'm definitely having that contribute to the stuff.
Yeah, these are all kind of informally assembling a venture of the riot.
Yep. Ventures are tools,
go
but not
anywhere.
always.
Popular support building.
Might not be a
So-
riot.
So I think I got the scene with the Excelsi in me, and maybe that'll be it for the night a bit early-ish. So, would anybody be going with from Rectangular up to Excelsi house? Like, yeah, with the Yangtze family?
Probably. I'm a good tool for that social situation, anyways.
Okay, so let's go over. Is that map still there? If so, where the hell is it?
So on the way up, Angler just says, "All right, here, just we're gonna teach you how to water ski." And he gets underneath the water and just kind of via bubbles or the actual water itself, grabs Yang's ankles and just starts swimming literally as fast as he possibly can directly towards where it is.
Ah, competitive drowning, you say?
You can't drown outside of the water. What are you talking about? Although that does give me an idea.
I don't want to know it.
Well, not for you, but
It gives me an idea, and it requires rocks.
I might talk to your uncle?
Oh, please, not waterfall.
Why not?
He's gonna do something weird. You two are gonna be conspired together.
You indirectly gave me an idea. He might help me with it. Well, it'll be a wrestling thing. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna get my spine broken today.
I imagine this is being said like during the water skiing.
I mean, most of it's probably just bubbles coming up from under the surface because he's technically water right now. Don't worry about it.
I mean, narratively, it's funny. But so let us switch back over to you make it through the swamp. This is probably like late evening of one of the days. Check. So, the outer posting of guards is still there, and well, if they wanted to do anything to stop you, they probably couldn't. But they recognize Yang just kind of water skiing on nothing and zipping by at max, like very fast at incredible speeds, and just kind of go, "Yeah, that's Yang." And just kind of as you zoom by, you approach the immense willow tree that you met them under, and okay. You are now back in the presence of Excelsi Fuyiko and the rest of the renegade Excelsi. Fuyiko is on her large mushroom chair, as usual. You actually kind of caught her in the middle of reading a small booklet. First Beyond the 10,000 is over in the corner doing a training drill against a small dummy that had been set up. And Drunken Waterfall and Riotous Lichen, who, recovered a while back, but is now finally, fully recovered from the complete and severe ass beating handed to him. They appear to be playing liar's dice together.
Heh.
And, Swamp Father is chilling out in the usual spot, as well as the abnormally large alligator that Milan befriended.
Yeah.
Colleagues on both kinds.
The gator seems to be observing the game of liar's dice, actually.
Hey, Mima.
Dang! It's good to see you! She actually hops down off of the mushroom throne and walks up and checks first, but kind of extends her arms a little bit for a hug.
Yeah, all right. Bring it in.
She just gives you a gentle hug, letting the mycelium veil of her hat kind of droop on you a little bit. It itches a little bit, but not too bad. And then you step back. It's good to see that you're doing all right. How have you been?
So I'm a superhero now.
I'd heard.
That seems to be more me than it isn't, and that's a nice way to cope with all the programming. So I'm making it, figuring it out.
Yeah, I'd heard of a recent cast that had been rather theatrical with their approach, and it sounded familiar,
Outcast?
but...
What the fuck?
Hmm?
What? I lived here for years. I'm not an outcast.
No.
Outcast is referring to either
That's terminology for
unclaimed.
not imperial.
Yeah, unclaimed, basically.
Okay.
Cast
From
within-
out here in the provinces.
No one's calling me an outlaw, right? Or
No.
A menace.
Matters on who you talk to.
Only people who you would call... Only people you would enjoy hearing the word from have called you a menace, as far as I understand it.
Good, excellent. Everything's going according to plan. My friend needs to pretend that he needs to ask a favor or something. I don't know. What are we doing?
She looks a little amused that you don't understand why you brought your friend here, but is also not surprised as she steps over a little bit as First Beyond walks up, giving a nod to Yang to just kind of stand, just reflexively standing guard near the matron. Meanwhile, Drunken Waterfall looks over at Yang. Just kind of waves over and just kind of yells distantly, "What's good?"
Oh, Justice.
Hey,
Just
what
a
up,
bit.
fam?
You want to see my my Yang torpedo? It's my new miracle.
Here you go. Hold on. Keep your goddamn pants on.
What? No, it's when I run at you and then to go horizontally midair and then just kind
Yes! Yes! Sorry, I'm the only other one who gets this.
I figured it was something. All right. Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Like a move. Yeah. No. Immediately cast aside
And
the
then
cup
I
and
do
dice
the
and
Kirk
knocks over
torpedo.
Lycans. As Lycan is like, come on. And he's like, yeah, get me. Come on.
I unleash the Kirk torpedo.
Kirk torpedo.
Just wham. Roll me force brawl to see how well you stick the landing.
Oh, what's even my brawl?
No, it's close combat now. Right? They didn't differentiate here.
Close combat combo punch.
Yang Essence text. Force brawl, close combat. Okay. 7. Not bad. Could be worse. Oops.
So, you just go fucking flying, and your cape extends behind you in a majestic, fluttering, just trail as you launch yourself in a perfect way, arms out, launch forward, directly at crotch level, slamming full force into the nards, bowling him over, just like.
10 successes off of 7 dice.
Right, as Lycan just looking over as you are rolling in a ball over each other on the ground as Drunken Waterfall curls up, just clutching at himself around his gut and just making horrible dry heaving retch noises. Just, right, just
The Kirk torpedo is truly powerful.
I learned how to box.
Don't worry, he likes it, right, as Lycan says. Fuck you! Fuyuko's just shaking her head. Boys. Now, what can I help you with? Sir Angler, I believe it was?
Yes. Now that looks over to just the pile of pain over there, that's taken care of. My hearth and I, including your family member there, are going to be causing some mischief down south with the guild. I explain this and points over towards. Is the god of the swamp there? The swamp father?
Swamp Father is chilling out in the usual lagoon, just kind of making kind of a rumble and acknowledgement.
Yeah. I explain this to the swamp father, but we're going to be trying to damage the guild that they have there, push them out, and put in other people that are going to be less bad. No, there's no better way to put it besides less bad in the area. And we were curious if you had any information that might help us take them down.
She pauses and is kind of thinking for a moment, just kind of still behind her veil. I first ask what provoked this. I presume it might be my relative as the driving force, but you seem to be rather behind it as well. She kind of turns over her shoulder to look, and as she turns back to look back at Angler, and as Yang is kind of looking over Drunken Waterfall, there is a flying tackle from Riotous Lycan onto Yang. It's just like, dogpile! And it just turns into a giant melee.
Ah, this is the true essence of war.
I don't like what the guild does. People should be free to make their own dumb decisions, and they hold too much debt for people in the area, and I want to remove that.
Have you accounted for what happens if that doesn't go well?
Yeah, I know.
It was a question, not an accusation.
No, I understand. It's personally, I don't think there's anything in this region that my hearth can't do. But
Be careful, that's how you get yourself into trouble.
I'm hoping that if we cause enough of a stink, if we cause enough of a ruckus, it'll bring some of the people we want down on us there. And we can take care of them before there's a real problem.
And exactly who is it that you want if it isn't the guild?
Oh, I want the guild. A bonus would be... And then he pauses for a second and I have out of character. Does she know about green and purple?
She knows
Like,
she knows vaguely about purple, but got basically slammed with arcane fate when she tried to talk about him. And is very distantly aware of green as a letter writer.
Yeah, and then in that case, it's going to be okay. And he probably, no, he does actually have a waterproof bag. He would pull out a couple of the correspondences from Green. A friend, in the loosest terms, has been sending letters around the entire area trying to turn people against us or against each other to cause chaos and discord, to weaken the entire area so they can do what they want and just take over. And we're trying to stop that person.
This is being obviously said with a wry smile. And you believe that causing chaos and discord on your own is going to hurt him?
Well, see, he sent us a letter where he almost won, except he didn't. So I figure if we cause enough of a problem there in his home turf, it might bring him, just because we've proven that he's wrong again, and he's a child, that he might have to come try to push us over while we're doing it. We also have a way of communicating with him, and I'm going to be sending him a message in about, as soon as we go in, to just poke the bee's nest, as it were.
You can't quite see it through the veil, but they're just from the stance and just the small chill down your spine, there is a very predatory smile on her face at the moment. I think I believe I understand the person you're dealing with. If you would like, I could help you draft that letter, see if I can take some guesses educatedly as to particular weak spots to twist. Although I warn you, if you get him sufficiently angry, he will respond in kind.
I understand. The letter might not be sent immediately. It depends on how the rest of my hearth would appreciate all the information. However, we can send it to them immediately after pushing over the guild, and that might be just enough that we can take care of one problem and then the next.
She nods, pacing a little bit. How quickly do you think you're going to be replacing the power vacuum left behind by the guild?
I can't say immediately. We have people in the area. Again, it's been months since we've talked to these people, so I apologize. Does she know about Burr? Is Burr one of the people she has correspondence with?
Vague awareness and some contact back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I figure through connections and stuff. Again, my notes are months old, so I don't remember all of it off the top of my head. It'd be more referencing to, yes, Burr would be in the area. She has a lot of knowledge of the place, and I figure if anyone's going to be able to take care of this region, someone who is devoted to the idea of freedom is probably the best option.
If only you knew two powerful merchants in the area that could help deal with the elimination of a corrupt.
And
who?
It's not the elimination that I'm worried about. It's the long-term consequences. And Burr's already shown to be a skilled negotiator and administrator, so she definitely would be someone we want to have in the area after.
Burr, the administration part, she actively dodged. She's good as an interim person. She doesn't like being long-term.
Yeah, well, for the interim thing, that's what I was referencing.
Fumiko actually looks over at the god. And what exactly is your stake in the matter, she says, and Swamp Father just kind of has another rumble of just alligator grunt noise. My domain is the swamp itself and the people within it, so long as it does not overly disrupt the balance of life here and does not disturb that which sleeps within the temple. I could not particularly care. Fuyiko shrugs, having roughly expected that answer before turning over back to Angler. I can provide you with what I know, but again paces a little bit, thinking. Even if this draws out who you are willing to draw out, I worry that whatever other nemesis you have that have their eyes upon that which is sealed might take that as the opportunity to strike when you are distracted, when you are attempting to distract them.
I understand, and that's why I wanted to bring this up with you before I made any actions. I figure you'd have the best ear to the ground for this situation.
I will support you if and only if you make it your absolute priority to assist us if we come under attack.
Of course.
Above everything.
Save for family, yes. I'm sorry, I do have a family in the region, and their safety comes first to me. I won't make a promise I can't keep.
I will accept that.
Again, we'll see if this situation even comes up, but I like to go in forearmed.
Wise. And certainly the approach that I preferred as opposed to your hearthmate and your brother, although she looks over at the now increasingly rolling dog pile of violence that now has a gator just kind of not actively violencing into it because very large, but kind of playfully biting and doing very slow death rolls to just kind of twist people around and hurl the ball of violence around. Just like not more like wrestle rolls rather than actual death rolls to just kind of hurl all three of the people in the grapple ball like 13 or 14 feet. And they're all exalts, so they're all fine. So the gator can just kind of play with them like a fucking chew toy, and it's just like ah.
Gang, flip the gator on its back.
Oh, don't give him encouragement.
No, by the way, this is an actual thing. If you flip an alligator or a crocodile on its back, they just go out.
Oh, I heard him.
No, they'll go unconscious. It's fine. Or not conscious, but kind of into like a coma-esque state of just being kind
That's
of
worse.
out of it. Yeah, I know.
Fuyiko just shakes her head. There's something to be said for both approaches, as what I suppose I'm getting. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something shifting in the ground, in the growths from the soil, from the shoots of the leaves to the fruits of the spores and all.
I was going to say, out of character, this is something we know about. Someone's redirecting the dragon lines.
Something is wrong. Something is changing and something is unsettling. Patterns are reversing. Growth is not going on times. Something is being changed, and I don't know what, and I don't know for what purpose, and I worry, as I can't trace it back, and I can't see what it is doing to the temple.
Okay, and then Angler's going to reach into his waterproof bag again and pull out kind of his notes and such. All right, let's just give you all the information we possibly have, because that might be able to help you with any kind of preparation you all would need here. And he's going to explain everything that's happened with green and purple that he could possibly think of, and also with Ruby Gauntlet. Sorry. And since you mentioned that idea, and thank you for the reminder, by the way, Bradway, the idea of the dragon lines possibly being changed and altered as well. Oh, and since he's thinking of it, would you know why our wonderful behemoth to the east is possibly following the roadways safer also being the dragon lines? Could there be any other reason that it could be on the move?
No.
Okay.
I would not understand any movement of the behemoth and any changes in its patterns, as it has been quite content to live the life that it has led and be migratory within the Rough Valley region that it has been grazing from since, as far as I understand, from the people who live here time immemorial. A
Understood.
dramatic change in its migratory patterns must mean that whatever is determining those migratory patterns is itself being shifted. Which, as she's pacing back and forth and now is like grinding a foot as she takes a step to work her foot deeper into the loam.
Would you know of anyone who has communicated with Beast?
She looks at you strangely. No.
It's a thought. Yang actually brought it up to have an opportunity to speak with the creature.
I'm unsure how much is there to speak with, but it certainly would be worth a try. I've simply never heard of such a thing.
A lot of what we've learned in the past 6 months is sometimes people just don't ask the questions that seem to be obvious because it's just the way things are. And sometimes it's a good idea to just twist it a bit and see how it works.
An important piece of wisdom to learn so young. May it serve you well for the rest of your life.
Well, I've learned it through a series of dumb mistakes on my part, so hopefully that part can go away.
She just laughs from it. I live in a swamp. I understand.
Frankly, I love it here.
I do too.
I mean, he points to the water that he swam out of. Like, yeah, this feels like home.
It's a place that many would regard with disgust, and yet even I had been one of them for a while when I was first here, and then I began to look at it with new eyes and a new gift. And it is now my home, as she says, as she climbs up on her chair. And I will defend it.
Fair enough. And a promise is a promise.
Thank you. No, do be a dear and pry your brother out of the headlock. I don't believe he's going to get out of that on his own.
Waterfall, throw him this way.
They eventually get out of it on their own.
Go long!
I kind of wanted to see what happened with whatever this move that Yang pulled earlier, so I need to see it coming directly at me.
Alright, Yang, roll it again. Alright,
Not quite as good, but still pretty reasonably good.
solar plexus rather than crotch.
That doesn't break my defense, but at the same time, Engler just takes it.
It is just a very to the gut of just like, ooh, okay, yeah, like entire human body worth of dead weight directly to a vulnerable part of your anatomy. Yeah, that is actually a pretty strong maneuver.
Instead of taking a hit, he, wrestling, takes the hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those, this might really hurt your head if you hit me head on. So it's the, like, roll with it a little bit so Yang doesn't actually hurt any part of his body. How do you do that without hurting yourself?
What?
Okay,
The
it's
Swamp Father
time to go home.
The Swamp Father just kind of looks over. You are making an awful lot of assumptions.
I have to worry about him. He's a little brother. I got to make sure he's okay.
I believe he enjoys it this way.
We got a lot to do in the next couple days. I need him in fine shape, and then as soon as he's like really realizes that the Swamp Father is staring at him, he just pauses, race you, throws Yang in the water, grabs Yang, and just takes off as fast as he can down the way.
All right, force physique.
Okay, before I even forget, Angler is using, where is it? Dragon surmounts the waterfall, which I need to find out what the heck that does again.
This is the chase and race Okay, this is a little long for just a goof. So I won't
Whatever.
use the
You know
foot.
what? You would just do. I'm not going to use any other charms. Well, you're right. I just keep it.
No, no,
simple.
no. I was looking at the foot chase rules rather than anything else, and the full version of it is for like an actually very narratively important thing. But yeah, we'll just make it one roll instead of like 5.
You said force what now?
Force physique.
Physique. Gotcha. Have a physique charm.
Or athletics. My mistake.
Okay, that's fine. I will use athletics then. Nine.
Jesus. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to use charms for this. Of course I am. This is a race.
Coward.
Let me just look quick in the back, see what gods can do. Remind myself. Okay.
Ah, beans.
So you give it an incredibly strong effort out of all of it, and then what happens narratively is that the god is chasing you in basically physical form and swimming in physical form until it realizes, oh, you're using charms. You're actually doing a whole ass thing. Well, if you're doing that, then opens the door for me to do my thing, and just becomes like a crocodilian like shape of water, like a torpedo bullet that is a dark cloud underneath the water itself with 2 lambent yellow eyes where the alligator's eyes would be, and literally just flows like beyond your ability to even track almost for a moment before getting up ahead of you and it becoming a more even race again, at which point it pulls ahead of you and looks back as though like, point made, or do you want to keep doing this seriously?
At one Angler, when he looks back, Angler is like a quarter of the way to just dissolve into water. At that point, then remembers, right, yank, I can't actually do that, and reforms again, and just goes, I'll keep going with this. It's fine. And he's gonna try to make up the difference again, but we'll see. I'll use another mote and try one more time. Continue to stay at 9.
All right. And if you're going to keep going, then it is going to use Principle of Motion.
The what now?
Principle of Motion. I act twice.
Fuck.
Still loses. So, again, there is that supernatural just breaking of, like, right, yeah, the laws of physical creation are acute suggestion when I care about them. And like shudders and lurches forward, but is so confident that had won it the race that it just kind of slows down to kind of be like, okay, now you can give it up, and then you zip by, just like, God, what? The response is just very visibly in the eyes, like, God, what? Do you know when to quit?
No.
Angler is now hydroplaning across the swamp water.
All that you can see is just his hair and his mustache sticking up out of the water.
No. At this point, the swamp father just stops, just like, fuck it.
All right. We're close to them. We need to slow down. You're right. I don't want to do that ever again.
At this point, it's clear that in one sense, yeah, you won the race. At the second point, you are aching and tired and exhausted already, and the swamp father barely looks winded.
Why are you so good at this? Oh, right, of course.
This is job. That's his
Yeah, I know.
job.
Look, I'm not thinking straight right now. I just swam miles, 2 miles.
There is just this very kind of, there's a combination of like an emotional combination of proud of you, smug that you're feeling it, and just kind of like, well, damn.
He's the Swamp Father.
Just like, you won, it kicked your ass, but I can't say that you didn't win. So, nice job. It's been a while.
Yeah. We're gonna do that again sometime. I can't think of anything beyond we're gonna do it again sometime, but I need to lie down. I need to get out of the water and lie down.
Like there's a deep alligator rumble that ripples the water. You
Yes.
there's I'm not. I had a thought, it left my brain. Yeah, I'll just
Okay,
leave it.
fair
At
enough. In that case, I will bow to the Swamp Father until we see you again. Thank you, and then go off with Yang back to boat.
That. Mm-hmm.
Or I guess we're at boat. I don't know. We're whenever we get back to boat.
Boat is in swamp on outskirts of city.
Yeah.
So, and with that, I'm gonna call it a session.
Okay.
Next time, further infiltration of the guild, destabilization of a shitty economic system, possibly enfranchising the people at the bottom of it. Social commentary. I know writers that use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Happy Labor Day, everyone.
Fuck yeah! Happy Labor Day!
It's the Labor Day session.
Labor Day!
Yeah!
It's a Labor Day! Say it with me now.
Next time, swamp crime.